San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You missed me yesterday? You guys miss me?
No. Go away.
I said probably maybe 3 times. I think I caught myself the third time. Taking phone calls on the postgame show.
Uh-oh.
You're the Braden's Hamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show. At that point, I was running on fumes. It's a long day yesterday. I had a great time, though. It was fun. It was fun talking Padres baseball with the fans yesterday all day long. Got to meet a lot of great people. If you came up to me yesterday, that was awesome. Really appreciated that. Appreciated all the kind words. Appreciated the Starbucks gift card somebody gave me, which was cool. A lot of people. This is like one of the first times where people came up to me at the loft. You're not Sammy. No, I'm not. Who are you? Name's Braden. Like the Midday guy? And I'm like, that'd be me.
You're not Sam.
I'd be him. That'd be me. Good to see Rod yesterday. Got to see Jake yesterday. Got to see a lot of great people. Met Gonzo yesterday. He came up with Rod. That was a fun time. So had a great time at the loft yesterday. Had a great time hanging out with Padres fans. Getting to do the pre and post game show was a blast. Had a great time doing that. Filling in for Sam. Everything ran smoothly. Sam gave me the greatest tutorial video ever. It was so funny. Did you see that? Did I tell you about this?
You told me he sent you one. You didn't show it to me.
I was watching it yesterday just to double check, make sure I didn't set it up wrong. Mm-hmm. I kind of had the idea of how to set all that stuff up. So Sammy Lev has a 4-minute and 50-second video of how to set up the system. The guy, this is why I respect Sammy Lev, dude. He's thorough and he has attention to detail. I appreciate that as somebody that also has attention to detail. Stuff like that matters. Making sure everything looks good and just slop it together. Sammy Lev sent me the video and he starts the video. Hi, Braden. This is Sam trying to get it. I'm like, who do you think it is?
Oh, no.
Do the tutorial video, if you will. He's just starts chit-chatting on the thing. He's like, you plug this in over here. I don't know what that is. I don't know what but somebody just dropped that off the other day. Just ignore that. Don't pay any attention to that. That was like a power strip that somebody put in there. I don't know, whatever. It was pretty funny though. I thought the video, I was trying so hard not to laugh my ass off while setting up the equipment, with all the Padres employees up there in the loft trying to get everything done. So that was me yesterday setting up for the pre and post game show. But overall with the game was moving yesterday. There was a couple of times where Chris Ello said it, and that was probably right around the time it started to slow down. He jinxed it because it was the 6th inning and it was an hour into the game. But there was not a lot of offense yesterday for either team. I thought Michael King pitched well yesterday. Michael King was great. He went 6 innings, 1 earned run, gave up the 1 hit. It was a home run, unfortunately. 86 pitches. I was a little surprised they decided not to have Michael King come in and pitch the 7th inning. But I'm also in the same boat of, I don't necessarily know you needed to. I can see it both ways. It's May.
He's been throwing a lot too. His previous 2 outings, I think, have been over 100 pitches both. So I understand them wanting to shut him down a little bit earlier.
I think they were just at that point, the game was tied and it's time to flip it over to the bullpen, which your bullpen is better than the Cardinals bullpen, although it wasn't last night. And that's not even to say like Bradley Rodriguez pitched poorly because he gave up the leadoff double and he almost got out of the inning twice. So for Michael King, I thought he pitched well, 6 innings, 1 earned run. It was 1 hit that he gave up. I mean, the Cardinals didn't have much of an offense yesterday either. And then you get to the 7th inning where the Padres ended up giving up that run. And, yesterday in the postgame show, I had like so many people going, why is Nick Castellanos out there? Why is he playing? Why is he out there? That should have been Fernando. It's like they're trying to get as many bats in the lineup as possible. Nick Castellanos has hit .455 in his last 3 games, trying to get him going a little bit. You got to put him in the field somewhere. Ty France has been hitting the ball well this season. Miguel Andujar you can't take out of the lineup after what he has been able to do, and he got another hit yesterday. So you got to play some of these guys. They decided to go with Castellanos yesterday. People were like, oh, Song's played 2 games. So to sit here and be like, it's a foregone conclusion that Sungmoon Song's going to be a better option than Nick Castellanos still remains to be seen. I think you got to play the hot hand. I'm okay, Frank, with Castellanos starting yesterday. And with him starting yesterday, he has to play somewhere. And out of the 3 that you got, you ain't putting Ty France out in the outfield. They haven't talked about putting Miguel Andujar out in the outfield. So who plays in the outfield?
Andujar has played in the outfield a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing a swap if that's going to be the case. If you're going to have Fernando give somebody a day off in the infield, I wouldn't mind seeing Laureano play right and Castellanos play left. I think that might help the Padres out defensively a little bit. But yeah, Castellanos is going to have to play in the outfield, especially if Miguel Andujar isn't going to.
Because he hasn't played in the outfield for the Padres yet, correct? In a regular season game?
Andujar has had a start in left field.
He had 1 start in left field?
Yeah.
But based on whether they're playing Andujar, it doesn't sound like they really want him out in the outfield. Just like they don't want Ty France at second base, which they even said. They don't want him out there at second base. I'm trying to find like where the starts are at. Overall this season, he has played first and third. Andujar has not played the outfield yet in a regular season game for the Padres.
I thought I could have swore he had
It could have been in spring training. But he has had 1 game at first, and he has had 2 games at third. And that's all that's popping up.
Oh, that might have been. Okay.
I think it was a spring training game. So that's all you need to know about what the Padres think about Andujar playing in the outfield. So you have to put somebody out there. And to be honest, like that was still going to be a tough play yesterday for Castellanos. But it didn't give up an extra run. Him missing the ball. It gave up the 1 run that was going to be a run anyway, because it was going to be a base hit. You needed somebody with a lot of speed out there, which, Fernando, sure enough, I'm sure he probably would have caught it. Bryce Johnson probably could have had a good chance at catching that ball. Jackson Merrill, obviously, but he's your starting center fielder. So when you're looking at building a lineup via bats, which, by the way, most of our fans had agreed with us on that earlier in the season, you have to give something up. And I wouldn't say it's a routine play for Castellanos. It's just a play that he can't get to.
Yeah.
He's in the lineup to hit.
Range.
They didn't want to take him out for a defensive replacement because they needed the swing. He had been hitting the ball well the last couple of games. You play the hot hand, and they wanted his bat in the lineup. Because here's the other thing, too. Here's what happened. Let's say they put a defensive replacement in Bryce Johnson. Nick Castellanos still had 1 more at bat after that inning. Let's say Bryce Johnson gets put in to the game, because you can play if you want to play the what if game, we'll play the what if game. Bryce Johnson comes in as a defensive replacement. He catches that ball. Then he comes up with maybe runners on later in the game and he strikes out. Maybe you could have had Castellanos there. It's splitting hairs for a game that you only scored 1 run and you need to be better on offense. And yesterday was one of those games. You're going to lose games like that. The Padres will lose 3 to 4, maybe 5 more times like that. They're going to win 60. They're going to lose 60. It's what you do with the 42 that really matters. You're playing a red-hot Cardinals team, and I thought you cooled them off a little bit with their bats. Their bats weren't that hot. They had the home run by Burleson, had a couple of doubles. And other than that, they really didn't do much on offense. Padres had every inning but 2. The first inning when they had a 2-out rally lead to a run. And then one other inning, which was, I forget later, that was 4 batters came to the dish. It was a 1-2-3 inning. 7 out of the 9 innings yesterday for the Padres offensively. You're not winning a lot of games doing that, Frank. You're definitely not winning a lot of games doing that.
No.
People were complaining about Xander Bogaerts getting picked off at first. I agree with Craig Stammen. Those things happen. It was with 2 outs. It's not like it was the beginning of what could have been a big inning. It was at the end of the big inning. And a lot of things. Here's the other thing too with Xander Bogaerts getting picked off in the first inning. There was a lot of stuff going their way with 2 outs right there. You work a walk. Fernando ripped the single, and then you got the check swing, 264-foot single into right field. You can't, in my opinion, I don't think you could really complain about the getting picked off. I mean, you got gifted a hit. In fact, Xander was still holding it there like he was like, hey, look, I didn't swing. Meanwhile, the ball is flying over to right field.
That might be a home run if he puts his full effort behind that swing with how far that ball went on a check swing.
I know we didn't have Don and Mud yesterday. Mark needed to change his swing angle of what would be a double if he hits it. Hits it, it's a double. Hits it, it's a single. That ball would have been gone. You know what's funny? 264 feet. That ball's gone in a Little League field.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
It's a major league check swing out in a Little League.
You check a swing and it's a home run by 60 feet, 55 feet maybe, whatever they moved it back to now. That guy's playing in Williamsport. It's over the fence. I couldn't even do that if I tried. With a high velocity they were throwing. But overall, I think the biggest problem yesterday was, couldn't get anything going on offense. Sometimes you could tip your cap. I thought the Cardinals pitched well yesterday. How about Riley O'Brien? He's got a 100-mile-an-hour sink piece. That was nasty.
Splinker.
Yeah. That's a foul for using that term.
What? No, that's what it's called.
He draws the foul.
Correct. Calling something a splinker is dumb. It's dumb. According to all of my traditional baseball friends that have played college baseball, they said you better not say spinkler on the air. That's not a real pitch. The traditionalist baseball fans, Frank. That's a foul on you.
Thinking splitter.
So dumb. That's like they have now accustomed to the sweeper, which they were all against too. That's not it's just a slider. There's no what is the sweeper? Old men yell at clouds, dude. In that group chat, I tell you sometimes. Old men yell at clouds. I'm going to be an old man that yells at clouds later on in the show when I talk about the college football playoff potentially going to 24 teams. I'm in favor of it. I don't know. All of a sudden, the media that all covers the SEC doesn't want that anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wonder why that's. Wonder why that's the case. You got guys like Josh Pate saying this takes away from Michigan, Ohio State being a great game. It's not gonna be a great game anymore.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Are you kidding me?
You don't cover Michigan, Ohio State.
Josh Pate covers everybody.
That's a Fox game, buddy.
Josh Pate covers everybody. It's so ridiculous. It takes away meaning from all these important games. No, it takes maybe a little bit away from the games that we had shoved down our throat all the time while we get to enjoy the rest of college football, which maybe you should tune into every once in a while because it now makes those games more important. West Kentucky and Mid-Tennessee State's got some legs to it now.
I was going to say, we are pro-Maction on this show.
San Diego State actually would be playing for something. But we don't want that. We want to make sure that, we want to make sure that if Purdue loses their first game of the year, they're eliminated from the playoff because it's fun. But if Ohio State loses the first game of the year, they can still work their way back. Stop it with the fake rules. We'll talk about that later on the show. When we come back, we're going to talk more about yesterday's game. We'll dive into what happened yesterday. Interesting, situation yesterday with the Padres. Fernando and Manny Machado working some early batting practice that Kevin Acee laid out in his daily newsletter. I was there. I watched some of it. We'll talk about what they were working on and what the issues had been with Fernando and Manny and some significance to it as laid out in Kevin Acey's newsletter. We got other things that we want to get to today when talking about the Padres. We'll dive into some other Major League Baseball as well. Updated projections for 2026. That's always fun. They just took they waited for like the first month of data. Now we got it. Let's update our predictions. I wonder where the Padres are at. We'll take a look at that. We will also get to San Diego FC talk at 1:15. We'll talk about the rest of the Padres Cardinals series coming up as well. But yesterday, Frank, as we have a couple of minutes, I thought yesterday's game was a total that's baseball game. And it's probably one of the first times that there's not a lot of talking points to break out. They just lost yesterday.
Yeah, that was one of the games of all time yesterday. It's one of, as you said, it's just one of the 60 that you're going to lose. And had you won it, it was going to be one of the 60 that you would have won. Game is going to get lost immediately in the memory bank. So I don't know how much you could take away either way from last night's game. It was kind of just a game that happened last night.
I think so too. I think, some people were like freaking out yesterday in the postgame show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't as bad. By the way, like trying to do the postgame, I can't even look at the chat because you're trying to do all this stuff anyway. I can see why Sam doesn't. Every once in a while, I'd see a couple things break through, like just nonsense. And one of the phone calls I had last night, I almost rolled my eyes on the deal. I guess Nick DiNucci told me that Sam's got a quick leash.
Yeah,
he's got a quick hook on. He's just we're not.
You have to.
Oh yeah, it's just like some of the crash outs yesterday. Just like, bro, it's one game. It's one game. How many times do we have to tell you? It's one out of 162.
Yeah, it's not 1 out of 17.
Correct. This is not the NFL. It's not college football. It's Major League Baseball. All right. What happened yesterday with Fernando, Manny, and Steven Souza Jr.? Kevin Acey talked about it in his newsletter. We'll talk about some of the things they worked on. We'll take a look at what I saw out there and something that the media was not allowed to do during this session. We'll explain next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First round of the NBA playoffs, absolute chaos. You had injuries, you had comebacks, you had wild Game 7 finishes everywhere. And teams like the Timberwolves and the Lakers advanced without their top scorers. Pistons and 76ers both came back from 3-1 down, and role players became series heroes overnight. And that's the biggest takeaway. Depth wins in today's NBA playoffs. Bench players aren't just supporting stars anymore. They're deciding who survives. Meanwhile, teams like Oklahoma City and San Antonio proving that defense and shooting can overwhelm anyone, while the Knicks are showing that elite defense still travels deep into May. So heading into round 2, it's not just about who has the best superstar. It's about who has enough depth and toughness to survive the chaos. First round, the NBA playoffs for 2026 was nothing short of chaos. We saw injuries reshape series. We saw massive comebacks, multiple Game 7s that went right down to the wire. Teams like Minnesota and the Lakers advanced despite losing their top scorers. Meanwhile, Pistons and Sixers both clawed back from 3-1 deficits, showing just how unpredictable this postseason has been. And even teams like Toronto managed to extend their season with a buzzer-beating drama before eventually falling. Now there's barely any time to breathe. Second round is already underway. Big story, depth wins in the playoffs. If there's one clear takeaway from the first round, Frank, depth matters more than ever.
Yeah, in past eras, playoff basketball tightened rotations and leaned heavily on stars. But this year, injuries have flipped that idea completely upside down. Minnesota has gotten huge production from its bench, losing Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo. The Lakers survived Houston thanks to unexpected scoring bursts from role players. Even San Antonio leaned on rookie contributors when Victor Wembanyama missed time. These aren't just, that's a nice story. They are series-defining performances, and that trend is likely to continue as the playoffs get more physical and more demanding. You know what else could really, get a team ready to go in a playoff situation like this?
What?
Not sitting your star players every other day for load management. Maybe that might get them amped up and ready to go and more in shape for the playoffs.
Let's talk about the Western Conference out west. Two teams stand out for very different reasons. Spurs are shooting the ball at an elite level, nearly 42% from three in the first round. That kind of spacing combined with Victor Wembanyama's inside presence makes them one of the toughest offensive puzzles in the league. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City just became the most complete team left. I mean, with SGA still playing at an MVP level and the Thunder's depth, it has allowed them to absorb injuries without missing a beat. Even when their roster shifts, their style doesn't change, and that's dangerous in the playoffs. You could see a collision course of OKC and San Antonio. But, Frank, what do you got for us in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, the Eastern Conference, the New York Knickerbockers are proving that they are more than just a scoring team. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns get most of the attention, but New York's defense has been elite. They've shut down Atlanta's top scorers and consistently held them under 100 points late in the series. That defensive identity is what makes them dangerous moving forward, especially against elite offenses like Philadelphia's Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey's combo. The question is now, will that defense hold up as the competition gets stronger? And you had a big showing in the final game of that Knicks Hawks series, a 50-point gap, and that was even at halftime. They had that gap as well. So big scoring outbursts from the Knicks, and that defense really locking opponents down.
Back to the Western Conference, Nuggets problem and league-wide trend. Then there's Denver and a growing concern. Nuggets have one of the best offensive cores in the league with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, but their scoring efficiency has dropped in multiple recent playoff runs, and that's becoming a pattern, not a fluke. And across the league, we're seeing something unusual. Scoring is down significantly in the playoffs despite record-breaking offense in the regular season. Tells us one thing: defense is still very much alive in today's NBA. Or in the playoffs, they finally start trying to stop people. And so, you don't score as much, or the regular season, it's just like a scoring spree and nobody ever plays.
I think that's the one.
I think that's the one,
that's
too.
it.
This is why the NBA gets made fun of all the time for stuff like that. So as we head into the second round, the question becomes simple: who can survive the second round? Because this postseason is no longer just about star power. We got depth, defense, adaptability. The team still standing: OKC, San Antonio, New York, Minnesota, Cleveland aren't just talented, but they're built to withstand the chaos. And after everything we saw in round one thing is clear: this is not a normal playoff run. This thing is wide open. $10:23 on a Friday. It's good to have a Friday show. It's good to be on a Friday. It's good to have Fridays. We like being on Friday.
Friday, good.
Friday, good. Good Friday. Not Good Friday. Today's not Good Friday.
No, it's not.
Today is a good Friday.
Yeah, it's not the Good Friday. We're not gimmick infringing over here.
Gimmick infringing on the Catholic Church and one of their holidays. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are going to talk a little bit about yesterday's game, what happened before yesterday's game, what happened during yesterday's game. Obviously, the biggest problem of yesterday was the offense.
Oh, really?
The overarching tone around Padres baseball right now is this obviously reason for optimism as well as impatience for this Padres offense. It continues to underperform in a massive way. Yet internally, there is still strong belief that this lineup eventually becomes dangerous once the stars sync up. At the same time, the problem is nobody knows when that actually happens. Nobody knows that around any team in Major League Baseball when that actually happens. Padres lost 2-1 to the Cardinals in another game where elite pitching was wasted by an offense that produced almost nothing. Lineup has been incredibly inconsistent despite featuring star-level talent throughout the order. The disconnect is becoming impossible to ignore for the Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. has no home runs yet, despite elite hard contract metrics. He roped that ball yesterday again, Frank. Had some serious topspin on it, too. I mean, he was on top of that thing. Manny Machado is missing hittable fastballs he historically crushes. Lineup producing weak contact and ground balls in key spots. And the Padres pitching continues carrying the club almost nightly. The organization still believes this is temporary. The outside world is beginning to wonder if it's a structural problem. We talked about Michael King a little bit. We'll talk more about him later on in the show. Let's talk about Fernando Tatis Jr.'s swing overhaul. He did it out in the public yesterday. Kevin Acee talked about it in the newsletter. Is his pregame cage session with Manny Machado and hitting coach Steven Souza Jr. And it wasn't casual BP. And I was there. And I was told, and everybody in the media was told not to record it. No recording of batting practice. And it was just Fernando, and it was just Machado, and it was a pitching machine, and it was Steven Souza Jr. Machado was intensely coaching and demonstrating mechanics to Fernando. I was there. I saw it. Steven Souza Jr. heavily involved, working on the mechanics of Fernando's swing. And Tatis didn't say much, but he listened. He was engaged, and he was focused. And the issue appeared to be timing, being inside the baseball, his loopy swing path, ground ball contact, and synchronization between his leg kick and forward movement. That was all what he was working on. And yesterday, based on a lot of the swings that Fernando had, he's getting on top of the ball. A lot of topspin. Looked like he was out early on a lot of things. Tatis still ranks near the top of Major League Baseball in hard hit rate, 58.8% hard hit rate, which is fifth best in Major League Baseball, yet he has no home runs and 155 plate appearances. The statistical contradiction is almost unheard of for a player with his power profile. And the Padres clearly believe the power outage is mechanical, not physical. And his first at-bat, I told you, I said that ball was pieced based on what I saw from the press box. Do you know how fast it came in at?
No.
112 miles an hour. The organization is desperately looking for signs that the breakthrough is imminent. I tell you what, I mean, I thought, Fernando was putting in a lot of work yesterday, before the game, before they got regularly, in batting practice. Steven Souza Jr. was coaching him up. Manny was really coaching up Fernando, and they were trying to figure it out. I mean, I know people have become impatient with this, and they're like, he needs to hit home runs. He needs to figure it out by now. But when I look at this, and we've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, and I'm almost getting tired of talking about it, Frank, but this is why I'm not concerned about it. They know it's a problem. They're addressing the problem. And the only thing you would be extra worried about, Frank, is if his metrics were showing that he can't hit the ball hard anymore. And he can't physically do it. So the fact that it's mechanical, and they're working on it, and they know about it, there's really not much more you and I could talk about it, aside from, he hasn't hit a home run yet. I mean, what is us saying anything different than what they are already doing going to make a massive difference? How does that make it different of holding them accountable? We know. I mean, it's like when your parents growing up would tell you something and you're working on it and the results haven't come through yet, and you just hear it over and over and over again. Like, yeah, I know. I understand. I'm working on it. That's what he's doing. He's working on it. I don't really think there needs to be that much more to be said, aside from the fact that it's obviously bothering him. He hasn't hit a home run yet. Obviously bothering him. He's hitting the ball 112 miles an hour and not getting a lot of results for it. And he's out there in the cage working way early before everybody else. When I go to the ballpark, you go to the ballpark. It's not every day those guys go out there. And there's definitely a difference when you're out there before everybody else. And that's what it was yesterday.
If I'm Fernando, I called yesterday's batting practice just as a public display of everyone shut up now. Like, I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure this out. I do care. and I am actively working on it. See, here I am out in the public doing it. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm so done with hearing but no home run. He's going to hit and home run at some point. He's clearly working on it now. That's all you need. It's gonna happen. It's not going to happen today. Trust me. If he could hit a home run on command, he would have done it already. It's not easy to get a hit in the major leagues, let alone one far enough to go over the fence. He's working on it. He's figuring it out. Just be patient with him. He's earned it. Get off his back.
Yeah,
Please.
I think so too. I mean, at this point, there's not much more we can really say aside from the fact that he hasn't put the ball over the fence yet. That's basically it. Manny was getting a lot of work too. It wasn't like he was only doing that. Yeah, I watched Fernando hit 5 home runs yesterday in batting practice. And they were smoked.
And he still got 2 hits yesterday.
He hit 3 to right center field at the beach or the pier, whatever it is. I don't know. Opposite field home run like that? That's kind of a show that he's got power. He had 3 out there. He had a couple more over to the left field. That's the only one I saw. That's only the ones that I saw. The guy was hitting the ball over the fence. A couple he hit to the top of the fence. But it's not like he hasn't physically hit a ball over a fence since spring training. I mean, he's doing it in practice. Yeah, exactly. Manny was also getting some work. Manny Machado was getting in some work at the... He actually looked better in batting practice than Fernando did. But at the same time, like, he's not getting a lot of great results in the game. I mean, he's fouling off fastballs in damage zones. He's grounding out on pitches. He historically demolishes. His production against fastballs in the strike zone has declined sharply compared to prior years. And he's always been one of baseball's elite fastball hitters. And hopefully he's not losing his bat speed or his timing, because that changes the ceiling of this offense dramatically, if that's the case. You know, we go from one swing breakdown to the next with this team, with players, and now all of a sudden it's like, all right, maybe we got to start looking at Manny's swing, what the underlying conditions are, to see if there is reason to be a little bit afraid or not. That's the only reason why we do this. When we look at these analytics, it's to give you a little bit of peace of mind that, like, things are going in the right direction or things are not going in the right direction.
Just looking at it right now, a very broad look of it. Average exit velo is 90.2, 65th percentile. Barrel percentage 33rd percentile. Hard hit 68. Launch angle sweet spot 15. Bat speed 72. 73.9 miles an hour on the average bat speed. Squared up 24th percentile. So that's just a very preliminary look at where his averages are.
Right. It's okay. It's not like nothing really jumps off the page too much, but he does this a lot in the first couple of months. I got to see how he does when it starts heating up a little bit. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Talked a little bit about that. Catcher situation is a little important for the Padres now coming up. I liked Rodolfo Duran yesterday. I thought he played well, making his major league debut after 12 years in the minors. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what his relationship was with Michael King last night, and Jackson Merrill quietly being one of the best stories on this team right now with his growth at the plate. We'll explain more and why he should get more leadoff opportunities when we come back. Motorsports in 2026, proving one thing: speed isn't enough anymore. Execution wins races at Texas. Denny Hamlin led the charge for Toyota, but Chase Elliott beat him in a 4-lap sprint to the finish, winning by just 0.4 seconds after a late caution reset the field. Ryan Preece and Ty Gibbs brought the tension mid-pack, with contact sending Gibbs into the wall and out of the race in another aggressive Cup Series moment. In Xfinity, Kyle Larson held off Justin Algier in a JR Motorsports 1-2 finish, while in trucks, Carson Cassavell outdueled Kyle Busch in overtime for another statement win. And in F1, it was Kimi Antonelli surviving chaos in Miami to win his third straight race, holding off Lando Norris in a race full of lead changes and safety cars. With another wild weekend of racing complete in NASCAR, they're making a very strong case to get your tickets for Father's Day weekend in San Diego. This week's Motorsports reinforced a familiar 2026 theme across the board: Toyota dominance on intermediates, late race chaos in NASCAR, and execution under pressure becoming the deciding factor more than raw speed, Frank.
Yeah, we'll start in NASCAR with the Cup Series at Texas Motor Speedway, where Chase Elliott once again proved that timing beats dominance when the race is on the line. From the start, it looked like Toyota was about to take full control. Denny Hamlin wasted no time moving forward from his fourth-place starting spot to take the lead within just 20 laps from Carson Hocevar, who sat on the pole. That early speed set the tone for much of the day, and it looked like Joe Gibbs Racing was going to be the team to beat. At one point, it was nearly a Toyota lockout at the front, with Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell running 1, 2, and 3, with Ty Gibbs also inside the top 10. Hamlin himself admitted they believe they had the best car early in the race, but Texas did what Texas does. It tightened up late, and it punished even the smallest mistakes. Bell's race unraveled after contact with Todd Gilliland, while Hamlin avoided the chaos but had to fight through consistent restarts and track position swings. By the final stage, Elliott and Tyler Reddick had separated themselves slightly from the Toyota pack, and then came the turning point with a caution coming with 11 laps to go.
Yeah, Hamlin made a strategic call to stay out and guarantee track position on the front row, choosing track position over fresh tires. Elliott, however, executed the restart perfectly. In a 4-lap sprint, he cleared Hamlin and never looked back, winning by just 0.4 of a second. It marked Elliott's second win of the season and continued a strange but consistent pattern between him and Hamlin. When Elliott wins, Hamlin is right there in second place. When Hamlin wins, Elliott, usually the runner-up. It's becoming one of the most consistent rivalries in the Cup Series right now, even if the results are not splitting evenly. Bigger takeaway, though, even with dominant speed, Toyota couldn't convert at the end, and that raises a bigger question about whether raw pace still matters as much as execution in late race restarts. Behind them, Tyler Reddick quietly finished fourth, continuing a strong and consistent stretch that is starting to separate him in the points battle. But the most heated moment of the weekend didn't come at the front. It came mid-pack. Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs involved in a heated incident that ended with Gibbs crashing out after contact sent him into the wall. Preece made it clear after the race that his frustration stemmed from earlier aggressive moves by Gibbs, saying respect on track has to go both ways. The result was another DNF. Did not finish for Gibbs on a non-drafting track, continuing a frustrating stretch after multiple recent incidents. It also added another layer to what's becoming a more aggressive, less forgiving Cup Series garage in 2026. But on to the Xfinity Series.
The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, I forgot to switch that. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Kyle Larson once again showed why he's one of the most versatile drivers in motorsports, holding off Justin Allgaier in a Junior Motorsports 1-2 finish. Allgaier had the run late, but Larson controlled clean air and track position in the final laps to secure the win by just under 0.3 of a second. It was another example of how difficult passing has become in clean and evenly matched equipment even when the pace is there. In the Truck Series, Carson Hocevar continued his breakout momentum with a statement overtime win over Kyle Busch. Busch, who has historically dominated at Texas in the trucks, looked strong late, but could not hold off Hocevar's restart execution. Once Hocevar cleared the field, he never looked back, winning by nearly a second in overtime. It was another reminder in 2026, Truck Series racing, restarts are everything, and Hocevar is quickly becoming one of the more dangerous drivers in those moments.
Formula One, Miami delivered one of the most chaotic but controlled races of the season as Kimi Antonelli secured his third straight win. The race featured multiple lead changes, first lap chaos involving Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, safety car interruptions, and constant strategy swings from front to back. Antonelli survived all of it, holding off Lando Norris in the closing stages to win by just over 3 seconds. And right behind him, Oscar Piastri completed the podium, while George Russell and Verstappen recovered late to battle through traffic and penalties.
Yeah, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc saw his race unravel after multiple penalties, dropping him well outside the podium contention after running near the front earlier in the race. Leclerc spun on the final lap, broke his left front suspension, and then just trying to get back around, ended up cutting some corners. He was given a 20-second time penalty after the race.
10:40 on a Friday. Talking Padres baseball with you all day long. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing at Someone Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Let's talk about Jackson Merrill a little bit. Michael King, Rodolfo Duran. Real quick, I liked what I saw to Rodolfo Duran yesterday. I know he didn't get any hits. He just missed a home run that was probably gone in El Paso. He quickly learned what a Marine Layer and Petco Park is like on that second swing that he had. Or you know what? It might have been his first swing of the day. I mean, he crushed that ball to center field in one of his 2 at-bats. And I tell you what, that was I thought he was going to, make a splash last night. I mean, the guy had played in the minor leagues for 12 years. And he almost got it done.
Threw a runner out last night, too, at second base.
He did. He did throw out a runner at second base. He threw out Victor Scott to second, which was impressive.
Yeah, he ain't slow either.
No, he's not. But interesting with the moves yesterday. We'll talk about the roster moves in a second. Obviously, Joe Musgrove got added to the 6-day injured list. We'll get to that. But let's talk about Michael King first, and then we'll dive into what Rodolfo Duran did, and then it'll lead into our conversation about Jackson Merrill yesterday and what he has been doing at the plate and why he should be batting leadoff more. Michael King against the Cardinals, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 1 hit allowed, 2 walks, a solo homer was the only damage. And what stands out most for Michael King is he himself still doesn't believe he's fully right mechanically. He admitted his sinker command still isn't where it should be, which is scary considering how effective he already is. Padres are carefully managing King's workload too, because he only threw 75 innings last season. He dealt with shoulder nerve issues, a knee bone bruise. He's already at 35 innings through 8 starts this season, and the team pre-planned shorter outings at times this year to protect him long term. I could see now why you took Michael King out of the game in the 6th inning. If you're going to do that, if you're trying to find a place to take him out of a game in a tie game when you got the bullpen that you have, knowing what Michael King had done already, I think last night was a perfect instance of, if that is part of the plan, that's a great time to take him out of the game. It makes sense now.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think his last 2 outings prior, he had thrown over 100 pitches. I think he had 106 in his last outing. So he's been getting a lot of work in. He's been throwing a lot over these last couple of outings. So yeah, it makes sense to back him off the gas a little bit, especially this early in the season.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, the Padres need Michael King every 5th day, but they also need him healthy in September, because he is kind of the most important part of that rotation right now until you get anybody back. And before we talk about Jackson Merrill, let's just lead that into the conversation about Joe Musgrove yesterday. So I'm in the clubhouse yesterday, and again, like, everybody's walking around doing their thing, and we got the update that Musgrove is being moved to the 60-day injured list. But when they had the meeting, like the Craig Stammen conversation, the Craig Stammen scrum yesterday about Joe Musgrove, it was pretty vague. I mean, we know the Padres aren't going to give out too much information on their injured players. They really don't ever. They haven't really ever in the last, I don't know, probably, at least since I've been working here. So it's been at least with AJ Preller in charge. I mean, they've been pretty hush-hush on it, which I don't really mind. It's that they don't have to tell you anything. But he was moved from the 15-day IL or 10-day, whatever it is, to the 60-day IL, and was labeled as procedural. But the organization's language remains intentionally vague. Biggest takeaway, nobody seems focused on a return timeline right now. So recovery remains uncertain. Padres are obviously prioritizing long-term health over short-term return for Joe Musgrove. First half return feels increasingly unlikely, even if nobody says it outright. I kind of agree with that statement because, I mean, at this point in time with Joe Musgrove, because Craig Stammen was asked by Kevin Acee yesterday in the pregame about, like, has he thrown? Is he going to throw soon? Like, what's that? And Craig basically said it was day to day. I'm pretty sure that was at the beginning part of that clip. I think we might have posted it on social media. But I look at the move and I go, like, I get it's an easier move to make. I mean, he's already sat out for most of the 60 days anyway. It's good. It's retroactive to the beginning of the year, which means it's not like he has to sit an additional 60 days. It frees up a roster spot, which he needed to add Rodolfo Duran to the 40-man roster. That all makes sense procedural wise, but not throwing the ball. What's his timeline like? I mean, we had a caller ask us about that either yesterday or the day before, had no real reports on it. I mean, it just seems kind of vague, and I think it's hard for a lot of fans to be super excited or confident about that when it is so vague. But at the same time, they don't have to tell you anything. They don't. So I'm not saying the Padres need to tell us what's going on, but I could see why some people have some question marks. I feel like the safe approach is what the Padres are doing with Joe Musgrove, and we want him healthy at the end of the year because that's when we're really going to be able to cash in. So if that's the case, this is all part of the process then. And by the way, you still have Lucas Giolito coming back to this rotation. The way Matt Waldron has pitched his last two starts, I think, is very encouraging. The way Walker Buehler has battled, I think, is very encouraging. I think that this rotation without Joe Musgrove and without Nick Pivetta can get you to the trade deadline before you're going to have to add a starting pitcher. That's how I see it. That's why when it comes to Joe Musgrove, I'm not overly concerned, because if he can give you something at the end of the year, I chalk that up as a win for this season, because even in spring training, we're talking with Joe, he didn't mind like missing some starts if he was going to go through the whole year. He wanted to be fresh by the end of the year. It's tough your first full year back from Tommy John surgery. So if that's the case, this rotation, I think, has enough to get you to the trade deadline, and that is when you're going to have to reevaluate of, are we going to get Joe back? Are we going to get Pivetta back? Even if you get one or both of them back, I still think you need to add a starting pitcher at the deadline.
I agree. And just to put a bow on the Michael King conversation, he threw 105 against Anaheim, 106 against Arizona in Mexico City, 92 his last start, and then 86 last night. So he's been working a lot. As far as Musgrove is concerned, I think that was important to note, that moving somebody to the 60-day IL out of the pitcher 15 or the player 10 opens up that 40-man roster spot, which they needed for Rodolfo Duran. That didn't, Camposano going on the IL didn't do that. But I think that caller was yesterday about Musgrove's timeline. And I said, I would feel better if we had like some rough timeline. I think we do now. It's not going to be in the first half of the season. It's going to be most likely August, I would have to assume, is when he's coming back. And I think the Padres are treating this exactly the way they should, treating it with kid gloves. He's a very big part of this starting rotation. You also don't know what you're going to get if and when Nick Pivetta returns this season. So I do not fault the Padres at all for taking the extra precautionary step to make sure Musgrove is right and ready, because I believe Sandy Alcantara had Tommy John surgery and he was far off of what he normally is last season, and he's starting to get back to that now. So it does take a little while to fully recover from Tommy John surgery. So them giving him every opportunity to get right, I think, is the best way for the Padres and for Joe.
I think so too. I think that's where you got to be with this. And, I don't think you should look at it like a super negative that he's on the 60-day injured list. I don't think that means he's cooked. I don't think that means he's toast. I don't think it means, the Padres aren't going to get him back. I think a lot of it is procedural, and I think a lot of it is we got to do whatever it takes to get him to feel as close to ready by the end of the season. If this does that, then it works out.
I think the big question you have to ask yourself is, are they moving him to the 60-day IL if they didn't absolutely have to add someone to the 40-man roster? And I think they were content with him being on the 15 where he was, but needed to move him in order to get Rodolfo Duran up for Campusano, who's got a broken toe. So if they weren't confident in if they weren't confident that he wasn't going to be able to pitch and that he wasn't successfully working his way towards pitching again, they would have moved him off the 60-day. They would have moved him to the 60-day IL earlier, I think. So the fact that they only did it now and only because they absolutely had to is a good sign for his recovery, and that they're just taking care of him with kid gloves.
I think so too, because I thought at the beginning of the season when he was going to start on the injured list, I thought for sure he'd start on the 60-day IL. Because at that point it was, all right, well, he had this, and this happen, right? And in order for him to get up to strength, to get, he's got to build back up again and then get the rehab assigned. Like, that was going to take 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised that they didn't do that to add somebody already to the 40-man roster. The fact that I don't think they were doing it to like appease the fans and make it look like nothing's going on, like the Naked Gun. I think they're this is just, it is what it is. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, Joe's already missed however many days it's been. He's going to be eligible to come off this thing not much further after that. And it's going to be him over Pivetta because Pivetta hasn't sat as much time, right? So I think it makes sense for the Padres to make that potential move. We'll talk about Rodolfo Duran a little bit. Because the catcher situation has become very important now for the Padres. Freddie Fermin's been a little banged up. Luis Campusano's not on the injured list, which I think that's the worst part because Campusano was finally getting his swing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to miss some time now. Hopefully he can come back and pick up where he left off because he was off to a great start to the year. That's the worst part. I'm happy for Rodolfo Duran because I thought he impressed. I mean, Michael King credited Duran for pitch sequencing, communication, reading his swings, game planning, keeping composure. And I think a lot of the pitchers that threw to Duran last night, talked about, were very complimentary. He threw out Victor Scott II to try and attempt to steal. 11th fastest catcher throw this season, Rodolfo Duran. He also hit that 108-mile-an-hour line drive to center. I mean, even though like in the stat book it will look like he didn't have that great of an outing, it's pretty good. It was a pretty good deal, I think. So I liked Rodolfo Duran yesterday for the Padres. Are you responding to that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, dude. Whatever, bro. Yep, that's what it's just like. There's a difference between being positive and being a homer, and being negative and being realistic. There's differences in there. Anyway, but I do feel bad for Campusano because I thought he was really starting to put together some good swings.
Yeah, no, he looked great. He was finally starting to get that rhythm, and that's what we talked about, him finding his offense, and he did. He found it, and it wasn't like you said yesterday with what's his name from the Reds. It wasn't a Chris Paul hits a three moment. He's had some properly big moments for the Padres already this young season. So the fact that he's now going down with a broken toe, not great, and that really stings.
I think so too. But I think that's encouraging to see. I'm curious to see Rodolfo Duran play again today.
Yeah.
Maybe today. Maybe they'll have Fermin catch today. But I think you could you're a little nervous when Rodolfo Duran got called. They're like, oh, here he is. Let's see what he's got. I thought it was great. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we're going to take a little bit more of a look at Michael King. Not happy with his start to 2026, but he's been the best arm in the Padres uniform. I know we're dangling a lot of potential carrots, but what would Michael King look like if he's feeling the best? Talk about it next.
Hey, it's
11 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us over on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on setting us over on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate that. It helps us out a ton, helps us spread the word to everybody out there who might want to watch us on YouTube. YouTube.com/@B_SURP. You can go ahead and subscribe. It's great. It's fun to do. We really appreciate you guys doing that. It helps us out, obviously, and pushes out our content. We have extra content on our YouTube page as well. So, again, YouTube.com/@B_SURP. Hit subscribe. It's free to do. Doesn't cost you anything. And it will have all of our content ready to go when you jump on YouTube each and every day, or whenever it may be. If you missed anything, you can go onto YouTube as well. We have 1,059 subscribers, trying to add some more. Obviously, we appreciate you guys getting us over 1,000 mark. Now we get to our next goal, trying to get to the next level. But we appreciate you guys subscribing to our YouTube channel, supporting us. Everybody that is a member of our YouTube channel, we really appreciate you guys doing that as well. We're trying to get more members so we could do some members-only streams once a month. Once we get to a certain threshold of that, we will do that as well. But really appreciate you guys supporting our show and supporting us each and every day. All right, let's get to Michael King a little bit and just what we've seen out of Michael King so far this year. Actually, you know what? Let's pivot. We were going to talk about Jackson Merrill. Let's get back to Jackson Merrill. Okay. Even with his hitting streak ending yesterday, Jackson Merrill's plate discipline improvements are becoming extremely noticeable. I've noticed them, and this is like, to me, you're starting to see him bat leadoff. His numbers when leading off an inning were always high. His on-base percentage during that time frame was high. And for a position for the Padres that has been a black hole, the leadoff spot, I think Jackson Merrill could be the spark that flips that for this team. I said it before they started moving Jackson Merrill to the leadoff spot. Now that he's there, and right before he got there, his approach has been a little bit different. He's been a little bit more patient. His chase rate outside the zone has dropped significantly, which is huge, because the biggest complaint back anytime I brought up potentially having Jackson Merrill lead games off has been, well, he swings a lot of pitches outside the zone. He doesn't walk as much. Like, he doesn't have a high on base percentage. Why would you put him as a leadoff guy? Well, I think he has all the tools to be a leadoff guy. I like his speed on the bases. I like his ability to swing the bat. I think he's one of your better hitters on this team when he is right. And when making the decision on who should lead off, it should be probably on the sense of who does the best leading off innings. And Jackson Merrill is the second best at doing that behind Gavin Sheets. And if I had to pick between Gavin Sheets and Jackson Merrill, who's very close in numbers, I'm going to go with Jackson Merrill. Now, over his last 12 games, again, as I mentioned before, his chase rate has dropped significantly. He's put himself in more favorable hitters counts. He has made better swing decisions overall. And this is important because young hitters usually struggle adjusting on MLB sequencing. Hot in the first year because teams don't have good numbers on them yet. They haven't seen them enough yet. And then they make the adjustment, and that player needs to adjust back. Right now, Jackson Merrill is in the process of adjusting back to the league, and he appears to be adapting very quickly. Padres may be watching a future superstar learn in real time with the way that he has been approaching at the plate. Again, only his last 12 games. Hopefully he can build off this, but he is becoming one of the few consistently positive offensive developments on this team, which is good for the Padres because their biggest problem right now, aside from the offense, is the leadoff for the offense, whether it's leading off an inning or leading off the game. This has to improve because if this isn't working, all of a sudden it affects the rest of the lineup. I think Jackson Merrill is the perfect solution to this problem.
Yeah, he looks like he certainly can be. He has the makeup to where he could potentially be. The question is, will he be able to do it? He hasn't had to do it. And from what we've seen, looking over the course of the last couple of weeks through his advanced numbers, that he appears to be one of the guys that hits better when he's in the middle of the order, when he's a guy who's batting in the 4, 5, and 6 spots in the order. So this is out of where his comfort zone really is. It was interesting to see yesterday they finally got Manny out from behind him. Unfortunately, still had an 0 for day, but looked very competent up there. Didn't look like he was in the middle of a slump, or didn't look like he was trying to tinker with things and working things out. He looked very, very confident in what he was doing, just didn't get the results for it. So I think Merrill can be that spark up at the top of the lineup. He just needs the time to be able to settle into that role and actually do it. Now, like I've said on the show before, I'm more of the old school. I would like a hitter with some speed, a guy that can really just be an annoyance and a disturbance as the leadoff hitter. And I think Jackson Merrill is the closest thing on this team that you have to that, who's also got some power.
First bat of the game, still 2 for 32 in 37 plate appearances. At least they've worked a couple of walks now. But the first bat of the game is so important. And here's the deal. Like, it seems like it's insignificant because of 37 games. The Padres are the worst in Major League Baseball when it comes to first bat of the game. The worst in the league. And it's not getting any better. Now, Jackson Merrill, in his 4 plate appearances, worked 1 walk. He has struck out once, and he doesn't have any hits. You got to give him a little bit more time. But Ramon Laureano leading off a game was hitting a buck of 105 with a 419 OPS. Not great. In terms of leading off an inning, Jackson Merrill's gotten a couple more opportunities to do that, hitting 276 with a 934 OPS. The only one doing better is Gavin Sheets, but Gavin Sheets hasn't had as many plate appearances now as Jackson Merrill, who has seen now 34 plate appearances hitting to lead off an inning. And out of anybody hitting having at least 24 of those, Jackson Merrill is in fact doing the best. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Good to see Jackson Merrill, I think, in the leadoff spot. In terms of guys that just like have hit leadoff this year throughout the entire game. Okay, so this could be in different situations, of course. Jackson Merrill hitting 267 with a 789 OPS. That's in 18 plate appearances. That's already better than Laureano, Tatis, and Cronenworth, who have hit leadoff this year. It has risen the average to a 201 batting average for the Padres out of the leadoff man. That is the spot they're lacking the most. But the offense, they got to be able to figure out this offense a little bit, and it's been tough for the Padres at the top, especially with a lot of these stars not really starring. And they continue talking like an offensive explosion is inevitable, but you sit in here looking, it's like Tatis has no home runs, Machado is missing heaters. Bogart's, he's been up and down. I would say he's probably been more consistent than anybody else. And run production continues to lag badly. I mean, at some point, they'll figure it out, becomes less convincing as we get into today being May 8th. At least they were winning ball games. So we'll see what happens the next 3 days for the Padres. I mean, this is a lineup that's built around Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, and Jackson Merrill. But if they all underperform simultaneously, the margin for error starts to disappear. And by the way, guys like Miguel Andujar are going to come back down to earth eventually. Just as much as these guys are going to go on a little bit of it, like eventually going to go on a tear. Like Miguel Andujar, Ty France, some of these other guys, like, yeah, they don't need to put up career numbers, but based on some of their metrics, they're going to come back down to earth a little bit too. So offense needs a little bit to get going. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We've had some people call in about maybe some of our signals out there and the radio waves might be off a little bit. So bear with us. We have passed that information along. We're working on that. So thanks again for chiming in on the YouTube to tell us about that. We had somebody call in earlier today too. So we're working on that. We'll work through the technical difficulties, but we're going to keep it going. Michael King. We have a couple of minutes. Michael King right now does not think he is pitching up to what he possibly can. He doesn't think he has fixed his, he's at his best. And it's interesting because he's got a 2.95 ERA through 7 starts. And when the Padres have needed him, he's delivered. I mean, he's been great all season long, and he was great last night for the San Diego Padres. But he still thinks he can be a little bit better, which means how much better can he help out this team? I mean, he's 3-2 right now with a 2.76 ERA, 8 starts under his belt. I mean, he's looking like the true ace of this staff, something that the Padres really need with their makeshift rotation that they have on the back end. But how much more do you think Michael King can give us? How much more and how much better can Michael King possibly be? We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Round 2 of the NHL playoffs is where things stop being theoretical, if you will, and they start getting real. The Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens, are now in a battle between structure and speed. If Buffalo controls pace, they win. If Montreal turns it into chaos, everything flips. Carolina just exposed Philadelphia in Game 1 with relentless pressure, and the Flyers already admitted they couldn't handle the speed. Out west, Vegas looks like a team hitting its stride again, while Anaheim brings the highest scoring offense left in the playoffs. And Colorado, still built like a powerhouse that can tilt a series in minutes. Round 2 isn't about who looks better on paper. It's about who can survive when their identity gets challenged shift after shift. Because in the NHL playoffs, comfort disappears fast. NHL playoffs are no longer about potential. This is now about reality. First round of the Stanley Cup playoffs has already reshaped expectations, eliminated doubts, and set up matchups where reputations are on the line. And now we've hit the point where one truth becomes clear. Regular season trends don't win series anymore. Execution does. So let's break down round 2 through the lens that actually matters: matchups, adjustments, and who can survive when their identity gets tested. Before we do that, Frank, what was your biggest takeaway from round 1?
I saw a lot of very, very good teams playing a lot of very, very good hockey. Carolina, still a perfect 5-0 after their Game 1 win so far this postseason. Buffalo was able to handle Boston very, very nicely. What Montreal did in Game 7 of their series last night, as we record this on Monday, winning that game against Tampa Bay with only 9 shots on net, they are going to be a very, very tough test for the Buffalo Sabres, which is where our first stop is going to be.
And let's talk about it, Frank. Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens, Eastern Conference Series. Buffalo Sabres finally look like a team that believes it belongs here. They just broke through with a strong first-round win driven by balanced scoring and elite goaltending from Alex Lyon, stepping into a true playoff role. But now comes a very difficult challenge, as Montreal, Frank, is very fast.
Yeah, the Canadiens are fast. They're structured and extremely dangerous in transition. Nick Suzuki and Lane Hudson have been driving play at an elite level. And this series is going to come down to one question: can Buffalo puck move defense survive? Can Buffalo's puck moving defense, there are the words, survive Montreal's speed game? Because if it turns into a track meet, Montreal has the edge. But if Buffalo controls the tempo and protects their leads, their depth gives them a real advantage. It's not a comfortable series for either side, and especially talking about Montreal's ability to turn it into a track meet. They've got one of the fastest skaters to ever do it, Marty St. Louis, on their bench, so that he knows how to get it done as far as speed is concerned.
Eastern Conference semifinal on the other side, Flyers and Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes just did what they always do. They suffocated a team out of rhythm in game one over the weekend, and that is the problem for the Philadelphia Flyers. Philadelphia already saw what Carolina does, relentless forecheck, puck pressure, and wave after wave of zone time. And in game one, they simply couldn't handle it. The Flyers admitted it themselves. They weren't fast enough, they weren't sharp enough, and didn't win enough battles. So the adjustment becomes simple. Can Philly slow the game down even slightly? And if not, Carolina dictates everything. And when Carolina dictates play, they usually dictate series outcomes too. Your thoughts on the Hurricanes and the Flyers this series?
Hurricanes are a better team. Flyers right now are in the position of playing with house money. They were not supposed to be this deep into their rebuild just yet. Coming off a big series win against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're in over their depth right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a game, possibly two, out of this series, but I would very much expect the Carolina Hurricanes to come through and win this series.
Let's move over to the Western Conference. The Western Conference semifinals is the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. The Golden Knights are starting to look like a team hitting playoff form at the right time. Again, they just went through a tough, structured first-round opponent and learned how to defend rush-heavy teams better as the series progressed against the Utah Mammoth. And now they get a very different challenge in the Anaheim Ducks, a team that leads the playoffs in scoring and thrives in high-event hockey. Anaheim is fast, skilled, dangerous off the rush, and incredibly young. But Vegas has the edge in something Anaheim hasn't proven yet, and that's playoff control in tight games. If the series opens up, Anaheim can absolutely steal games, but if it tightens late, Vegas has the edge in execution, structure, and closing ability. But the Ducks, well coached, and just beat a team that has represented the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years as they outlasted Edmonton in 6 games. This is a Ducks team that's scary, Frank, because they're young and they don't know any better. 11:17 on a Friday. Padres and Cardinals will start today at 6:45. A little bit of a different start time. Games on Apple TV Plus. Plan accordingly. When I mean plan accordingly, I mean even listen to us. Sam Levitt of the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:45. First pitch at 6:45. McGreevy and Canning, 2 Southern California kids.
To be fair. Wayne Randazzo isn't all that bad. And he's got the game tonight for Apple TV.
Wow. The Angels guy?
Yes.
That we had on?
Mm-hmm.
So Apple TV does he do all the Apple TV games? Or
he does, I think, a lot of the West Coast Apple TV games, but yes, he is contracted with Apple TV. Has been for the last 2 or 3 years.
Interesting. Yeah. I can't remember the connection. So McGreevy, I don't want to mess up. I get him confused with I think his dad was like a judge in town, or like his dad's from here or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Michael McGreevy, I got to look this up. He's from like San Clemente, but I'm pretty sure like his dad was like a judge or something up there. If I can remember correctly, I don't think they have the information on there, but his I want to say his dad or his uncle or something like that is from San Diego. One of them went to uni. That's all I know about it. But Michael McGreevy grew up in San Clemente, but I'm pretty sure his family's from San Diego, so somewhat of a local kid coming to pitch. He's been their best guy, Michael McGreevy. He was actually teammates with Andre Palante in high school before he was teammates with him again with the Cardinals. Parents went to UCSD. I think his dad went to uni, if I'm not mistaken, because there's some type of connection where like my connections at Cathedral freak out when McGreevy shows up. I think his dad might be a judge, or his uncle's a judge, or something like that. Something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. Steve McGreevy. Try to see. He grew. Yeah, doesn't really say too much about him. I'll do some research for you, but he's got local connections if you will. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Griffin Canning, also a San Diego guy. They will be dueling it out tonight. Should be a good pitching matchup for the game tonight. I'm trying to look it up real quick. We have people in the chat saying that
law school at UC.
UCSD. I think they're from San Diego. Yeah.
Both of his parents went to UC.
Okay, yeah. His dad's a judge in Orange County.
And that's a judge, not a fudge, as we're so used to.
Yeah, he is an actual judge.
He is a literal judge. Okay.
Yeah, he is an actual judge from the Orange County, but I think he's from San Diego. Yeah. Steve and his wife, a former San Diego prosecutor and president adoption attorney, met at University of San Diego Law School. So USD. Actually, University of San Diego. Proud parents to two sons.
Does his name happen to be Aaron?
No.
Oh, so it's not Aaron the judge?
No, it's not Aaron. No relation on that particular deal. So there you go. That's from the McGreevyforjudge.com page, if you will. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he went to... So his brother went to uni, I guess. That's what the deal is, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Who knows? There's some San Diego connections with Michael McGreevy. That's where I'm at. Yeah, you know what? He is. Yeah, Steve McGreevy is a Don's class of 1987. So there you go. I knew this because... You know, I don't know why I knew this. Because I do the voiceovers for the Don's Distinguished Don's deal. And I read his bio. That's why I was I'm pretty sure he's got some type of local connection. So anyway. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. All right, let's get to Michael King. Michael King, would you say Michael King is dominating right now?
No.
I think it's pretty close to it.
He's been
got
solid.
under a 3 ERA. I mean, that's pretty legit stuff. He gave up one hit yesterday. It did go over the fence. He gave up one hit. I think he's very close to it. I mean, he's been excellent. But he's been almost dominating without even feeling like dominating. I mean, it's the most fascinating storyline for the pitching staff is Michael King is becoming which you already knew, but he's putting together ace level season. And depending on how Shohei Ohtani does pitching, and he's putting together a start to a year, Frank, where he could potentially get Cy Young votes if he continues on this pace and has a sub-3 ERA, right? Sub-3 ERA,
so, yeah.
You get Cy Young votes. Are you going to win the Cy Young? Probably not. Like Nick Pivetta last year, he had a sub-3 ERA. Did he not? I'm pretty sure he did. He got votes last year.
Moment, please.
So if he continues to have a sub-3 ERA, he's got to get Cy Young votes. That's how good of a start he has had to the season. 2.75 ERA through 8 starts, reliable innings eater, rotation anchor amid injuries from last year, consistent run prevention. But internally, Michael King thinks he's not been very good. Not average, not inconsistent. He thinks he's been bad.
Pivetta had a career year last year, 2.87 ERA, finished 6th in the Cy Young voting. His previous low in ERA was 2023 of 4.04.
What'd you say his ERA was again?
2.87.
Yeah, hey, sub-3 ERA, you're getting Cy Young votes. What do you come in, 6th place or something like that in the Cy Young votes?
I mean, I know you don't have to listen to me, but yes, 6th place in Cy Young.
Correct.
You want to ask me what his previous career best ERA was, or are we going to skip over that too?
Well, I know he had a career ERA. You don't listen to anything I say. I bring it up. What was that, 2 days ago? I said, you want to give me the splash hits? I said them on the show already. You're like, you want to pretend like I listened to you?
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday? Yeah. In my defense, I've had a lot of hours on the air. I cannot wait to sleep. I told Paul, I was like, I'm surprised they didn't ask me to do the Gwynn and Chris and then Ben and Woods Just like complete the marathon.
They had an open seat this morning.
You know what? Why didn't they call me? Could have gone on and helped them out.
You were gonna work yourself into a shoot with that. I would stop speaking as quickly as possible.
The last thing we need, because Go Aztecs already wants us in the Twitch chat, already wants us to have an 8-hour show. Let's not encourage anybody to do that. All right. So Michael King's been pitching very well. I think we're in a consensus there, correct? He's been legit. He honestly, he's been better in these 8 games statistically than I thought he was going to be going into the season after he was coming off multiple injuries. But he doesn't think he's in the right spot. He doesn't think he's playing that well. He doesn't think, in fact, he says he's bad. His sinker command has disappeared. He mentioned that yesterday after the game. When Michael King was absolutely dominant in 2024, he commanded that sinker precisely. Hitters had to honor his sinker. That opened up all his secondary weapons, and he controlled counts and dictated at-bats. This season, he thinks he's surviving more than overpowering. Instead of attacking with his strengths, King says he's pitching almost entirely two-hitter weaknesses because he doesn't fully trust his sinker command right now, and that's a huge distinction of whether or not he's dominant or just kind of surviving. Now, the scary part about that is he thinks he's just surviving outings. He's still producing some pretty good results. Grinding through outings, lacking his best command, overthinking scouting reports, working harder every inning. That's what he's doing, yet he's still posting ace-level results. That suggests there's another level available if his mechanics click. And the Padres believe the floor is already high. The ceiling may still be elite. That's why Ruben Niebla and the pitching staff remain confident despite King's frustrations. I would be confident too, Frank, if my pitcher's got a 2.75 ERA through 8 starts and he says he sucks. He didn't say that. He says he thinks he's bad. I don't think that's like a overconfidence, cockiness thing either. I think that is strictly he thinks he can pitch better. I mean, there's times where you and I like end shows that end up being really good shows that we think sucked. Mm-hmm. That's just, it happens. It's not like he has this unobtainable goal in front of him. But sometimes when you know, and when you got the feel and you can pitch better, I think that's encouraging for like what Michael King could potentially do the rest of the season. Sounds like they're going to limit some of his starts because he's coming off of a year where he only threw 75 innings after a career innings year the year before that. But if Michael King figures out his sinker, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch him every 5th day because he's going to be electric.
Yeah, he's already at, you said 75 innings last year. He's at 45 and 2/3 already this season. So if you look at what he's done, 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, not earned, hit batsman, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts against Detroit, 5 and 2/3, 4 runs, 7 hits, 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 5 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits, 6 innings, 4 runs, 7, and then last night 6 innings, 1 run on 1 hit. So he's had those games like the one against the Angels where he's been dominant, but he's also not getting deep into those games. Only 5 innings through 105 pitches. So he has been struggling at times this year. He's got 20 walks already this season. So I can see why he's saying the command isn't there, especially on the sinker. He's looked fine. He's gotten you through a good amount of outings, but I can see where he demands better of himself, and you can see the starts that he's definitely talking about. High walks, low strikeouts, low inning, high pitch count, for sure. You can see it.
Here's an interesting quote from AJ Cassavell's article about Michael King yesterday. From Michael, quote, "I'm mentally exhausted after these games." That says a lot.
Yeah, he's being a thinking pitcher for sure.
He described needing to constantly adjust, rely heavily on scouting, pitch backward, think through every hitter, compensate for mechanical issues in real time. That's exhausting compared to pitching freely with conviction. Elite pitchers usually operate aggressively when they're right mechanically. King currently sounds like a guy constantly improvising because, the original called play doesn't work. I mean, he's like a quarterback. Let's just try to make something happen with the legs. Don't like the play that was called on the field, yet he keeps escaping the damage. I think it also goes to show the catcher situation for the Padres too. Michael King has thrown a lot to Luis Camposano, and he threw to Rodolfo Duran last night. And he's getting, all of the things that I talked about in terms of like what Michael King said he described needing to do, that's all stuff that you do with catchers. And King has thrown a lot to Luis Camposano. I think that shows just how much of how much progress has been made with Luis Camposano over the years, not only offensively this year, but also from a defensive perspective. And like some people were talking about that, like, whatever catcher like the pitchers want to throw to more is going to get more of the starts. The fact that your best guy is throwing to Camposano this many times, I think that's a good sign that when he comes back, you can have Camposano in the lineup a little bit more too.
Yeah, for sure. And if we've seen it over the course of the last couple of years where you have quote unquote personal catchers on this team. And it's interesting. Camposano seems to be that personal catcher for a good amount of these guys. So that is a very, very positive look on it as to how well he's throwing to Camposano. And it is difficult as a catcher in Little League and high school. I can tell you it definitely does make a difference. The guy who's catching a pitcher definitely does make a difference on how the pitcher communicates, how comfortable they feel. If they have confidence in you, they are better for it on the mound. So I can see where that comfort comes from, and it's hard to get that level of comfort with a new catcher like King had yesterday.
AJ Cassavell lays out too on top of this the Ruben Niebla importance, and there's a certain detail about that shows that Ruben Niebla might be the most valuable person in this entire organization. We'll talk about it when we come back. Before we get to the sports thread on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's Urban Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Aztecs baseball rolling right now. Well, softball is battling through a season of extremes. Baseball team extended its winning streak to 11 straight games and took over first place in the Mountain West Conference and capped it off with one of the biggest moments of the year, a walk-off grand slam from Jake Jackson, the local product out of Madison High School. They're winning every way possible right now, late innings, blowouts, tight games. And meanwhile, on the softball diamond, softball showed both sides of its identity against Fresno State. They dropped two tough games, including a walk-off loss in extras, but also bounced back with a 3-1 win powered by clutch 3-run home run from Jade Ignacio. Baseball is peaking at the perfect time, while softball is still searching for consistency, but has the firepower to break out at any moment. Let's talk about San Diego State athletics this week. They are in a fascinating spot right now because across baseball and softball, we're seeing two very different but equally important storylines unfold. On one side, baseball is hitting historic momentum and climbing into conference control. On the other, softball is battling inconsistency, but still showing clear flashes of offensive power and resilience. And let's start with the hotter team right now, and San Diego State Aztecs baseball.
Yeah, the Aztecs baseball program is officially rolling. The Aztecs extend their winning streak to 11 games this season, capped off by a dominant weekend sweep of Nevada and followed by preceded by a 5-3 win over Cal State Fullerton, pushing San Diego to 30-18 overall. That streak isn't just impressive, it's historic. It's the longest winning streak for the program since their 12-game run back in 1997. And most importantly, it has completely flipped the Mountain West race as the Aztecs now sit alone in first place in the Mountain West Conference with a 13-5 conference record.
We talk about this a lot when it comes to Padres baseball, and you try to find ways and different ways to win. And what stands out most is how many different ways this team, the Aztecs, are winning. Against Nevada, San Diego State hit walk-off, scored late in multiple games, and repeatedly answered back in high-pressure innings. The defining moment came when Jake Jackson launched a walk-off grand slam, one of the most dramatic swings of the season, and a clear statement that this team thrives under pressure. Across the series, multiple players recorded multi-hit games, lineup consistently produced in late innings, and San Diego State hit over 400 with 2 outs in key situations. No longer a streak built on, the ball bouncing your way, but situational execution, which leads to the pitching.
Yeah, pitching staff has also stabilized at the perfect time, from starters setting strikeout highs to bullpen arms like Aiden Russell and Carson Johnson shutting down late innings. San Diego State right now is winning games in all 3 phases. Starting pitching is setting the tone, bullpen is holding the leads, and then the offense finishes the game late. That right there is a profile for a first-place team, not just in Division I baseball, but in any form of baseball that you find.
Yeah, big picture for the Aztecs baseball team at 30-18. They're now in a position it hasn't controlled in years. First in the Mountain West, 11-game winning streak, 18-5 at home, and winning both blowouts and tight games. The question now isn't whether they're good, it's whether they can sustain this level when pressure shifts fully to conference title implications as we get closer to the end of the season. Let's talk about softball. They're starting to wind down their season, and that's where the story of the week was inconsistency, and we've seen that a lot throughout a lot of the D1 programs here in town, but also clear offensive upgrade against Fresno State. Aztecs experienced both ends of the spectrum on the softball field.
Yeah, San Diego State dropped the opener 8-2, falling behind early after Fresno State capitalized on defensive miscues and a big inning that included a home run and multiple RBI hits. Aztecs struggled to recover despite some offensive activity from players like Layla Masario, thank you, and Kyla Pollard. That pattern continued into the finale, where San Diego State fell 4-2 in extra innings after late defensive breakdowns allowed Fresno State to walk it off with a 2-run homer. That game stings not just because of the result, but because San Diego State led late after the Waikiki solo home run that gave them insurance heading into that final frame.
In between those losses, definitely with the came a strong response for the softball team. It came in the 5th inning. San Diego State strung together singles. Jay Donacio launched a 3-run homer. Faith Jordan shut down Fresno State late to secure the inning, late to secure the win. That was the complete game. Timely hitting, clutch pitching, and defensive control late. As for softball's big picture, 24-26 overall, obviously not where they want to be on the overall season record. This is still a team searching for consistency, but the identity is clear. They got real power, one of the top home run totals in program history. Offense can explode in innings, and pitching can hold when given support. The challenge is eliminating the early innings or games slip away before the offense can settle in. Right now, Aztecs baseball and softball trending in opposite directions, but important directions. Baseball is peaking at the perfect time, controlling the Mountain West and stacking wins. Softball, very volatile right now, but still dangerous enough to offensively beat strong opponents on any given night. One is building toward a title run. The other is trying to find week-to-week consistency, but both are in the most important stretch of their seasons. And for more on that, we will give you updates over the next. I found out some information yesterday as I was waiting for the Gwen and Chris show to end. Do you know what's going on in a couple of weeks? Did you hear about this?
You heard about this? You read about this? No. What is going on?
Why didn't you get invited? Are you too good for this too? They said I could not participate. I was too good of an outfielder to do this.
Okay.
So,
Was ist das?
We're broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. I would imagine I probably don't have to do the 11:20 liner today.
Yeah, no. Probably shouldn't.
With the bobblehead?
No,
yesterday.
No, we do have a manager report today, though.
We do have a manager report we're going to get to later on. Okay, so I noticed this on the we have this new Google sheet at work for 97 Through the Fan that like monitors all of our potential outings in the community, if you will.
Okay.
So it's got like live remotes potentially coming up that they're working on. We're not on any of those. And I know. It's 97 through the fan events. Come on, we can start adding some Braden Surprenant show events. We maybe we got to do some other stuff here.
NASCAR's coming.
Okay. They are doing, coming up, it's in the works. I heard this on the show.
Okay.
It sounds like they might have found a high school coach to let this happen. But they are potentially doing a fly ball competition for Matt Scraby, Sam Levitt, and a little Chris Ella. I want to see this.
He draws the foul.
What's the foul for?
We're not on it. Exactly.
I want to
We're
get in on this. I want to get in on
this.
this. You might have to go pull the audio from yesterday because I was taking. Chris said I can't participate because I would win. Because I play outfield in softball, and so like it's I don't know. Apparently this is a situation of they don't think Scraby and Sam can catch a fly ball. So Frank, maybe you're a part of that. If you get invited, I'd be like, oh, this guy didn't think I'm good.
Okay, now you put it that way.
I would still like to go and attend this event. I really would. I have to check my calendar. I think there's something going on that day potentially. I do know I have a football alumni event at Cathedral. You know what? You want me to ask Cathedral guys? I mean, I could. They'd probably let us on. I'll already have to be there anyway. Still pending the location. Somebody give Gary Remiker a call. Let's make this happen.
We'll run competing events.
No, I'm going to have them. I'm going to steal it. So here's the deal. They asked Ty France about the whole, like, why do infielders take over for the pitcher on a fly ball in the infield? And Ty France said, basically because they're not athletes and they can't make the catch. And that offended Chris Ello because Ello's a pitcher at San Diego State. He thinks he could catch a pop-up in the infield. And Ty France said, absolutely not. And so they're going to get a machine and fire up a baseball into the infield near the mound and see how many Chris Ello can catch. And then in doing so, they're going to throw Scraby and Sam out there to do a fly ball competition off of a fungo. I think they should get a pitching machine for that and give them a big league fly ball because the fungos don't do it justice. I mean, there are some balls that are hit incredibly high in the air that people think are routine. And from our angle in the press box, Frank, how much do those things move from left to right? Those things are moving up there.
Yeah, fly balls are not straight, folks. They are an arch. If you play MLB The Show and you get one of those home run replays and you see how much that ball arches, that's real. That's not a gimmick. That's not just showing the curvature of the earth. That's how the ball moves.
And what happens is on those high pop-ups in the infield that look like easy pop-ups, I've seen the ball get hit in the air from our press box angle, which is the same angle I have for USD baseball. And it starts in foul ground by like the dugout and gets blown all the way back to potentially in a fair ground. And so as you're looking up, that ball is moving to the left very quickly. On TV, it looks like it's a can of corn. It's not. So I'm curious to see this.
You have to be careful as far as what high school it is, too, because I remember botching a pop-up in high school. My high school coach, again, was in here. It was in the chat last week. That was hilarious. I remember botching a pop-up at first base because I knew that there was like a sprinkler or a drainage cover that was somewhere, and it was a part of a dip too. Like it was in a little pit. So I was trying to avoid that because I knew I was coming up on it. So it depends on which high school field they have him do this on.
It's a North County field that's a newer school. I think they'll be fine.
Probably, yeah.
I think
In
they'll
that
be
case.
fine. What's the Kalshi prediction? What's the FanDuel bet? Are they going to do this on the Daily Gambit?
You might
the
as
Friday
well.
before? Who wins? Scraby or Sam? I've said I'd take Scraby out to the Sportsplex on a Monday and hit him fly balls. I could hit it with a baseball. It's fine.
I'm down to go to the Sportsplex anytime you guys want me out there.
You want to go out there?
I'm down.
I mean, we're out there every Monday.
But find my glove is what I got to do.
Fill in on the co-ed team?
I'm be down.
The problem is, it's like those guys are ruthless. Like, Crum will cut you if you don't get a hit. You miss one ball in the outfield, he'll just say you're cut. I mean, that's just how he is. All those games are filmed too, by the way. So
Great.
don't put anything bad on tape. Who you got, Sam or Scraby?
Sorry.
I do need to do a training montage of Scraby. I said I'd train Scraby up a little bit.
Sorry, buddy. I got Scraby in that one.
Really?
I got Scraby in that one, yeah.
I was going to take Sam, but you don't think Sam's athletic enough to catch a fly ball?
Oh, I think he'll catch.
Out of 10 fly balls, how many does Sam catch and how many does Scraby catch?
I'll give Scraby 7 and Sam 5.
Wow. You know, Scraby has played at the Sportsplex a couple of times.
Which is why I give him 7.
He also has gotten his shoulder fixed and hasn't come back because he says he hasn't been invited back. So maybe that is everything you need to know about that.
6.5.
And he never played the outfield, so we'll see, I guess. I don't know.
6.
Training montage would be great. I think I'm leaning more towards Sam until I help Scraby out a little bit.
It depends on how the ball's going to go. Is you going to make him run for it? How far?
I think they got to do a machine.
No, I agree. Even still,
I mean, I'm down to hit fungos. I'm down to hit fungos, but maybe Frank Marchese get them both loose by hitting fungos, and then you do the machine.
No, I can't.
You can't hit a fungo?
I can't self pitch. I've never been able to. I'm so
can't
bad.
Throw the ball in the air and then hit it.
Nope.
And you want to play softball on one of my Monday teams?
I can hit normally. I can play normally. I've always had a problem with self-hitting. Always. I also haven't done it in years, so that may have changed.
You're not really selling yourself on this at all. I can't physically throw the ball in the air and then hit it myself. But tell me what, when somebody else throws it,
brother,
I'm on it.
There's a reason
Please tell me you don't swing and miss.
No. There's a reason why I'm here and not on a field somewhere.
I agree. Nate, sus.
I mean,
Trav, red flag. You know what? We got to throw Frank out there.
I'm down for a tryout.
Let's have Frank out there.
Yeah, no, the hand-eye is not there on the self-pitch.
Add Frank to the list. Add him to the list. We'll see on June 6th. Trying to work it out.
Oh, wait, I think they just...
No, that's not it.
Oh,
that's something
never mind.
else.
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was too, and I got excited, and it's something else. All right, let's get to today's sports thread. We'll talk about Ruben Niebla and his impact and importance when we come back at the noon lunchtime hour. What do we got going on in sports today?
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do you got going on today?
We got an interesting amount of things today. We'll start off with
number 1.
Florida State and Georgia are canceling their their scheduled home and home series for 27 and 28. Though both schools are still hoping to set up a neutral site matchup instead, with both the SEC and ACC moving towards 9-game conference schedules. Major programs are finding it tougher to fit in marquee non-conference games. Especially when its rivals like Florida and Georgia Tech are already locked into the schedule every single year. It's another example of how the expanded playoff era is changing college football scheduling. Would you rather see big games played on campus in home-and-home series or at a neutral site with bigger venues and revenue?
I think so. I think there's a room. I think there's a place for some neutral site games early in the season. But to me, I think that would only be a week one deal. I like seeing the home and homes a little bit more now than I did before. I mean, there's something about like playing in a big stadium. Seems like it's a big game, like almost like a playoff game. I think it's fun. But at the same time, I think you only need like a couple of those. I really don't think you need a lot of those games. If I was commissioner of college football, which I should be, that would be like the week zero stuff. Playing some of the NFL stadiums would be kind of fun, to get your neutral site games. But I hate the cancellation of these home and home contracts because of the fact that we're so important. We're playing these big conferences. All our games are tough. We don't want to play this game.
Yeah, Georgia stopped
Attitude
scheduling
is a joke.
Old Dominion, maybe.
That's why I think a lot of this stuff needs to be fixed. And we'll talk about that later on in the show.
Number 2.
Aaron Rodgers appears to be inching closer to
Excuse me?
Aaron Rodgers.
I know what you said. Excuse me? Where did you get that from? Foul.
He draws the foul.
Are you just like that with names that start with an A?
No, it's people who annoy me.
Just Aaron?
Yeah.
You just don't like Aaron spelled with an A.
I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
Or
Just
Aaron Judge.
People who annoy. Yeah, the fact
Okay,
that they're
so,
both fact that they're both named Aaron is purely coincidental.
I want you to repeat how you said Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers appears to be inching closer to another season in Pittsburgh as the veteran quarterback is expected to visit the Steelers this weekend while both sides continue discussions about a possible deal. There is no official agreement, but team leadership has remained publicly confident that Rodgers will return after helping guide Pittsburgh to a 10-6 record last season. If it happens, Rodgers would reunite with Coach Mike McCarthy, the same duo that won a Super Bowl together in Green Bay, while giving the Steelers another shot to compete in a loaded AFC. If Rodgers returns to Pittsburgh, do the Steelers become a legitimate Super Bowl contender, or are they still a step behind?
I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers.
No.
At all.
Not this Aaron Rodgers.
No, absolutely not. I don't think, him and Mike McCarthy are going to... didn't they have a bad falling out with the Packers?
They did, yeah. It's funny how that article kind of glossed over that bit.
After they beat the Steelers? And now they're both on the Steelers?
Well, hey.
Come on, dude. Like, give me a break. Aaron Rodgers, it's time to hang it up.
Yes, it is.
It's time to hang it up. Like,
go away.
Just go away. One Super Bowl for him. Nice.
Number 3.
Has he even been to a Super Bowl since?
No,
he's only been to one.
FIFA is facing major backlash after dramatically increasing ticket prices for the World Cup final, with some premium seats now listed at nearly $33,000 and resale listings climbing into the millions. Lawmakers are questioning FIFA's use of dynamic pricing, while fans are criticizing the growing cost of attending what's supposed to be the world's biggest sporting event. FIFA argues the prices reflect market demand of the United States, but the controversy is adding to concerns that average fans are being priced out of a World Cup experience. Have ticket prices for major sporting events gone too far, or is this simply the reality of high-demand sporting events?
Prices for things are what people are willing to pay to go to said things. So from that standpoint, if you continue to pay these prices to go to said events, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to keep raising the prices based on the demand that people want to go. You don't want to pay those kind of prices, you stop going. That's how this works. I mean, if you want to make that decision, and I think there's a lot of people that financially decide that they're going to spend a ton of money on these games, that's their right to do. But eventually, if you want it to go down, you're going to have to stop going. They're going to need massive empty stadiums for them to lower the prices. Plus, in the United States, what did he say? They pay that for a college football game. They should be paying that for a World Cup game. Is that what the FIFA guy said?
I believe so, yeah.
The problem is, it's like they sell the initial thing is they sold it to all scalpers and they control the demand of the deal. I mean, the ticket prices for events are outrageous for a lot of these events. So the Live Nation got in trouble.
FIFA, nonprofit, by the way.
Padres. San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New Lunchtime Hour on the Fan is brought to you by the Craft Taco. Both flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Where are the tacos at?
You try to jump it every single day because you keep forgetting.
I paused right there for it.
That didn't sound like you
paused.
were going to.
I've paused every single time.
Okay.
That was a pause. I don't want to hear from the guy that couldn't even find the place.
Found it, though.
Got distracted by the lemur. By Zabumafu. Guy was in the way. The best part about that entire deal on the Craft Taco thing with that was you made it sound like it was very difficult to find. And Eddie from Craft Taco was like, it's really not that difficult. Like, we need to have... And then you went again, and it was like, oh, my God. It's literally right there.
Well, no.
Somebody did a video, right? Somebody did a video.
Yeah.
They're
Again,
like, hey, it's right here.
no, but again, I had seen it the first time, but I didn't realize that was it because it just looked like a regular, like a cookie or pastry stand. I didn't realize they were both in there together.
Stand. It was a pastry stand, he says.
Yes, it looked like it was not that, but I saw exactly where I was shown. I saw it. I didn't realize it was both.
I think the winner of the fly ball contest should get free Craft Taco from the loser of the fly ball contest.
That's fair.
And anybody that goes to support and put on the event, me and you, also get free Craft Taco. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that works.
Since we're not allowed to participate. Well, I'm not allowed to participate. You haven't asked.
Too good to participate.
What if you have to send a tape in? Yeah, Frank, you know what? Actually, why don't you get out there and catch some fly balls? That'd be so rude.
What's up, guys? I'm here.
Did you notice the difference, by the way, when I said, like, at the beginning, we weren't invited? Frank was all upset, and then I was like, well, they said we're too good. Hey, you know, I don't need to participate in this anymore. I'll take that as a compliment. Let's get back to Michael King for a second. We teased it, and we talked about Scraby and Sam catching fly balls coming to a YouTube stream near you. And what we teased was what Ruben Niebla has done and the importance of him that keeps growing for this organization and how he might be one of the most valuable people in the entire organization. In this AJ Cassavell article about Michael King, he talked about how Ruben Niebla called Michael King at 11 p.m. with mechanical ideas and video breakdowns. That's not very normal coach-player communication. Obviously, they're obsessed with trying to figure out what makes our players better. Shows what this coaching staff is about. Shows what these players are willing to do to become better before, you know, they lose 3 or 4 games here, Frank. We have to hear everybody say they don't care. Having a phone call conversation at 11 p.m. about pitching mechanics, I would say you probably, that's not, does that sound like, you know, an organization that has players that don't care? Not really.
No.
The Padres pitching infrastructure continues to look very elite. Communication, analytics, mechanical adjustments, scouting integration, trust between pitchers and coaches. And the Padres may not have enough healthy starters, but they clearly have one of baseball's strongest pitching development systems because the Padres still believe that King has ace DNA. I believe that with the way that he has pitched. I think Ruben Niebla's comments were very telling in this article because he identified 3 things that make King special: competitiveness, deception, pitch movement. That combination allows King to survive even when his command isn't perfect. Even when Michael King in the article says he's bad. He's been bad this year, his own opinion. That's what separates good starters from frontline guys. A normal pitcher loses command, he gets shelled, he gets beat up, his ERA is 4 to 5. King loses command, still gives you 6 competitive innings. Oh, and by the way, through 8 starts, has a 2.75 ERA. Still putting up ace-like numbers, even though he feels like he is bad. That's why the Padres extended him. So they gave him a contract. Hopefully, he stays in that contract for the next couple of years because he does have opt-outs. But Michael King, in this article, it's laid out by AJ Cassavell, he's chasing Garrett Cole status. The most interesting comparison in the article that I found was King talked about his Yankees days with watching Garrett Cole. And King explained that when Cole pitched, relievers mentally relaxed early, bullpen arms expected length, and everyone knew Cole would likely dominate into the 7th inning. Then came the revealing line in this article, quote, "I guarantee our bullpen does not feel that way with me yet." And that matters. That yet matters because King clearly sees himself as someone capable of becoming a true number 1 starter, someone capable of being an ace, not just a reliable piece, not just a good piece, but a true ace that changes bullpen usage and organizational confidence every 5th day. And that mentality is important. And I think that mentality, Frank, shows the team aspect of Michael King. Because Michael King right now could be sitting there looking at his ERA through 8 starts going like, yeah, I'm pitching great. This is great. He's thinking about, I got to get deeper in games for my bullpen. I know I have more in the tank. I know I can be better than what I am right now. I want to help this team win. I love that mentality out of Michael King. I love the conversations he's had with Ruben Niebla. And this is why the Padres gave him a contract extension and why I hope he stays with this organization for a long period of time. This is a great player to have in your rotation and a great player to have in your clubhouse.
Yeah, for sure. He's gritty. He's got fight, and he's also expects the best out of himself. Not that every player doesn't, but he's holding himself to a high standard, and he's not satisfied unless he's hitting at least what is reasonably close to that standard that he has for himself. He's competitive. He's a gamer. You see it every single time he's out there on the mound. And to add that bullpen, wanting to fight for the bullpen kind of mentality there, that's also really, really positive because he knows it's not just about himself. It's about the guys around him as well.
You know, I think he's really holding this rotation together right now. I mean, I think everybody is putting in gritty performances. You've seen a lot of highs and lows. You know, it might be a little inconsistent with the back end, but you've seen Walker Buehler go out there and compete. You've seen Germán Marquez, even though more recently hasn't been great. He's on the injured list right now, but you've seen him put up zeros in 2 starts. You've seen Matt Waldron get better with his last 2 outings, and his last outing being a really good one against the San Francisco Giants. So you have seen this rotation put out gritty performances. You've seen Randy Vasquez pitch better than what you would expect going into the season. He's off to a great start, even though he has come back down to earth a little bit. But the rotation has dealt with the Joe Musgrove injury uncertainty. They've dealt with Nick Pivetta now with some rehab questions as he tries to get back from an injury. Workload management concerns, bullpen stress, because we've seen the bullpen used a lot. Offensive inconsistency, creating low margin games where you got to be even better from a starting standpoint. Without King stabilizing the rotation, things could look a lot more shakier for this team, and the record could be a lot different. It's great to be able to lean on Michael King almost every 5th day to give you a great outing. Look, they lost last night, but he gave you an opportunity to win by only giving up 1 run through 6 innings, and he has become the stop the bleeding starter. He's been that ace type guy that you need in this rotation that I think has helped materialize this rotation that has had so many question marks.
Yes, for sure. He has been that ace caliber pitcher, that guy who you said you turn to stop the bleeding, the guy you turn to when things aren't going right to get a good start. And that's for us, that's pretty darn good, because the Padres don't really have one of those right now. They don't have that ace that you can promise, no, that you can guarantee is going to go out there every single outing and get the job done. So if the closer and closer that he gets to that, the better and better this organization is going to be.
Even when he doesn't feel right mechanically, as he doesn't feel right mechanically right now, he gives the Padres innings, he gives them competitiveness, he gives them consistency, he gives them a chance to win, and that's very valuable right now for the Padres with everything that's going on with the team. Now, obviously, there's some bigger warning signs with this as well. I mean, how sustainable is this version of Michael King? He's grinding through innings. He's mentally taxed. I mean, he even said it, and we talked about it in a previous segment about how Michael King feels mentally exhausted after every one of those starts. He's throwing high pitch counts. I mean, yesterday, they kind of limited that a little bit. He left the game with 86 pitches. He's compensating mechanically to try to figure out his sinker and his command. He's relying heavily on sequencing. I mean, these are all not things that you necessarily want your starter to do. And that can wear a pitcher out over time. I just think that Michael King eventually is going to get that sinker back and the command of his sinker back. And as much as the Padres are thrilled with the ERA that he has right now, they got to get him back to feeling confident and good in his pitching so he doesn't have to do this for a whole 162 game season, because I don't think he can give you 30 starts doing this, what he's been doing. It's great. It's working so far, but you got to get him in a state of mind where he's not mentally drained because of what he has to do to get people out.
No, again, and law of averages. There's going to come a time where it is going to fall apart. So he really does need to figure out soon how to get the ship righted and how to get himself back on the right track, or what he feels as though is on the right track. So yeah, I mean, it's going to take time, but no, he is not going to. He is not. I lost my train of thought, but it's going to take some work, but I'm very confident that he will get there.
I think so too. I mean, internally, the Padres have to know that they need the easy version of Michael King to return eventually, because the complex version of Michael King it's not going to last. He's just going to get burnt out at some point during the season, and you can't have that. Not with the way the rotation is holding up right now. I mean, he is really carrying this rotation. I think it's a big reason why the Padres have racked up a ton of wins. When you look at the numbers of the Padres and you start questioning how is this team winning games, Michael King's part of that equation. He's a big reason why they're winning a lot of these games. I know they lost yesterday, but overall for the season, he's been that stabilizer of the rotation. And, he's trying to be that ace of this staff that the Padres desperately need going into the rest of the year. And I said it, and we talked about it with Joe Musgrove being on the injured list, of course, on the 60-day injured list, being put on there yesterday, and Nick Pivetta and what you're doing, Lucas Giolito and Griffin Canning. Like, we'll see when Lucas Giolito comes back. Sounds like he's going to make one more start before coming back on the rehab assignment. I think Walker Buehler's pitched competitively. I think Matt Waldron has gotten better of his last couple of starts. Griffin Canning looked good in his debut. Hopefully he can build off that tonight. I think the rotation can hold up until the trade deadline, but I don't think you can go into the playoffs with what you currently have and expect to be dominant in the playoffs. And I know playoff baseball is shifting more towards bullpens than starters in recent years, but right now your bullpen's getting used a lot and you need them in October. So you're going to need the rotation to get a little bit deeper into games, and you need them to hold up until the trade deadline, and that's where you're going to have to make a move, because you're going to have to add a starter. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get the phone calls in a second. One of my players is in the YouTube chat. I see it. Shout out Noah Lawifi in the YouTube chat. He says anything dumb, Frank, immediately ban him.
Gotcha.
What time is it right now?
It is
12:15.
12:15.
I think it's still lunchtime. If he's in class right now, then he's running on Monday. I'm just going to put that right now.
No, if I were you, I would stop chatting. I would stop chatting immediately.
We already got one class shut down at Cathedral for one of the football players watching the show in class.
We appreciate it.
Oh, we love it. It's
Don't
great.
do it.
Nah, probably not. He said, let me get a shout out. There's your shout out.
Go Aztecs.
Pay attention in class.
Go Aztecs. That's not even busted. That's outed. That's a self-report is what that is. That's not getting outed.
Go pay attention to buy whatever class you have next. I didn't go to practice today because it was early and I got home at like 11:30 last night. Maybe that's
really? What were you doing?
Working all day. I'm excited to watch Noah play this year. So here's the thing. It's him and his brother, the safeties right now.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they don't like yell at each other, I think we'll be okay. Foul on Noah, by the way. You want to know why?
He draws the foul.
Watching during class?
No. Oh, that's. I think it's lunchtime still, so no foul on that. Foul on Noah because this is why. Him and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
His brother's 2 years younger than he is. Spring ball. They have they have their group texts to determine what they're wearing for practice. So like the offense wears something and the defense wears something to differentiate, and everybody's got to look like a team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the defense wore, I forgot what they wore red on black or something like that, whatever it was. Maya, his brother, wore the opposite. And I'm like, you guys live in the same house. How did you let him leave the house looking like that, knowing that? I'm like, foul. He's like, he can think for himself. I'm like, no.
He can think for himself.
Give me a break. Absolutely not.
What a response. Oh, my God.
Maya's got to do the tire. No, Noah, I think you guys both have to do the tire because you allowed that to happen. Go flip the tire.
Oh, God.
I want to take a look at Fernando Tatis Jr.'s swing and numbers that Mike Petriello put out yesterday. We didn't have time to go through it. We read the article. A lot of it was stuff that we were already saying a week ago, but there is some other stuff that is part of this conversation. We'll get to it next, and your phone calls when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. College sports just took a massive step into the world of private money, and it could change everything. The Big 12 Conference just became the first major conference to partner with a private equity firm, teaming up with Redbird Capital on a 5-year deal. They get immediate cash, and schools can access up to $30 million each in funding, which sounds great on paper, right? Here's the catch. That money comes with high interest rates, so schools are essentially betting on their future revenue to pay it back. And why now? Well, because college athletics is getting more expensive than ever. NIL deals, paying players, rising costs, it's all starting to add up. And this might just be the beginning. If this works, expect other conferences to follow. If it doesn't, schools could be dealing with serious financial consequences. So the question is simple. Is private equity saving college sports, or turning it into a business first and a game second? We've got a major shift in the business of college sports, and this one could have long-term implications for every conference in the country, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. The Big 12 Conference has officially approved a 5-year partnership with Redbird Capital Partners, becoming the first major college conference to strike a league-wide private capital deal. Now, let that sink in for a second. This is a private equity firm entering college sports at the conference level. We talked about it a while ago with Cal when they did their private equity thing. Now this is the full conference that is getting in on this deal.
Yeah, Utah had the private equity deal.
Yes,
Cal
Utah
did the changing
the
of
layoffs, yes.
Of the department and outsourcing their communication and media department.
My mistake.
Here's how this works. Redbird is providing the conference with an immediate $12.5 million capital infusion, while also helping the league grow commercial opportunities, things like media rights, sponsorships, and overall brand value. The bigger headline might be this, though. Each of the Big 12's 16 schools will have access up to $30 million in credit. But here's the catch. That money comes with double-digit interest rates, meaning schools that take it on are betting heavily on future revenue growth to pay it back. And that tells you everything you need to know about where college athletics is right now. Programs are looking for ways to keep up financially, especially as they now face the reality of paying athletes directly on top of rising costs across the board. This move also positions the Big 12 to stay competitive with powerhouse conferences like the Big 10 and the SEC, which have dominated both football and basketball championships recently. But here's another interesting layer. Redbird is a major stakeholder in Paramount Global, which owns CBS and is pursuing TNT, meaning this partnership could also influence future TV deals when the Big 12's current media rights agreement expires in 2031. So this isn't just some short-term cash. It's long-term positioning in media rights landscape, and the Big 12 isn't alone in exploring these options. Schools like the University of Utah have already dipped into private equity like we talked about, while other major conferences have at least considered similar deals. And the reason is simple. College sports is becoming high-stakes financial arms race, and private capital might be the next major weapon to this conversation. Now, Frank, as somebody that is a Big 12 fan, because of the fact that my college is in the Big 12, I find this to be very interesting. I have yet to receive any type of email as a season ticket holder about TCU accepting this $30 million. My question here is, and this is just for discussion, like, is it better to go with the private equity where you have to pay interest back? And I'm sure there's a bunch of rules, but these colleges have massive endowments of billions of dollars. Wouldn't it be better for them to just pull from some of these endowments to do the money, to get money to players or to other funding instead of going with private equity? Like, I get the need the money now, but the payback seems a little rough.
I would not touch this $30 million with a 10-foot pole. I understand the need. If you're a bottom feeder in the conference, you're trying to get back on track with everybody else. If that doesn't work, then you've put yourself in an even deeper hole than what you were already in. If you're at the top, if you're at the upper echelon of the conference, you're trying to get that one step ahead to break away and get closer towards the Big Ten and the SEC schools that have been dominating college athletics here recently. So I understand why you would do it each way. It's just, for me, the risk isn't worth it to me, because you're either going to get a national championship, or you're at least going to put yourself in that conversation for a short period of time, or you're going to completely financially ruin your school.
I think this is, from a Big 12 conference perspective, I understand why they made this move, because they need to compete with the SEC and the Big 10. Now, the Big 12 making this deal and then letting the schools decide, I think, is the best case. $12:23 on a Friday. Should be a fun weekend. Padres baseball. We got a game tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Tonight will be on Apple TV Plus, 6:45 start time. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt will be at 5:45. He'll have the postgame show for you as well. Saturday, different start time on Saturday. Well, we've had a different start time the last 3 days, right? 7:10 yesterday, 6:45. It's only 5 minutes difference for tonight's game. But Saturday, the game's at what, 4:15?
Whatever it says on the sheet. Yes, 4:15.
Thank you. 4:15 on Fox.
Yeah, look at the bottom of the sheet.
I had to scroll. I'm on the StreamYard.
The fact that I always
I'm on the StreamYard.
The entire
Dale.
series on the stream.
Come on. You should know it then. You typed it on there.
You're the host. If you're going to say it, you should be
I
looking
wanted to make
at
sure
what
it was
you're
right.
saying,
I said it was
brother.
4:15 off the top of my head. Right? You're supposed to confirm me being correct. Come on, man. Foul out Friday, full force. Got one of my football players watching in class. Foul. We already gave him one. Foul for watching on the foul for not subscribing to the YouTube channel too, by the way.
He draws the foul.
Come on, man. He got a shout out, though. It's all right. We'll turn this car around. Okay. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Let's talk about a story that came out yesterday from Mike Petriello from MLB.com about Fernando Tatis Jr. Some of this we already talked about a week ago. Some of us were on this early, Frank.
But it's breaking news, though.
Oh, yeah.
If it's on MLB, it's breaking news.
Just
no
like,
one's thought of this before.
Just like that Twitter account that was like, hey, media is too dumb to look at this. No. I'm not going to 49 Winchester tomorrow. Are they in town? Somebody asked me that in the YouTube chat.
I see them. I'll take a look.
Thank you. Sure, he didn't take info from your show? I doubt it.
He became an instant subscriber, though, after we gave him the timestamp for our conversation on it, though.
Yeah. Media's too dumb. Come on, guys. We literally talked about it that day. Fernando's obviously going through one of the tough stretch. He's hitting the ball hard, not hitting the ball with the fence. Through early May 2026, this is through yesterday, he ranks 4th in Major League Baseball in hard hit rate, around 59 to 60% among qualified hitters, behind only rookies Murakami, O'Neal Cruz, and young sluggers like James Wood. He's ahead of stars like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Yordan Alvarez in this key StatCast metric. We've talked about this at nauseum. Literally at nauseum. I'm ready to throw up talking about this. Yet Tatis is matching with almost nothing to show for it. Going into yesterday at 242 with a 295 slugging percentage. His OPS plus is 71, 150th out of 178 qualified hitters. No home runs in 2026, a 36-game homerless skid dating back to late 2025, longest of his career. Dropped to 5th in the Padres lineup yesterday. He was 4th yesterday. That was going into yesterday, which is the lowest since his 2019 rookie year. That doesn't really bother me too much. And what Mike Petriello alludes to is Tatis is making elite contact, but his batted ball profile is completely flipped toward the opposite field and to the ground. Here's the key data and visual evidence. Hits under 200 feet. Tatis ranks 4th in Major League Baseball at 71.9% of his hits traveling 200 feet or less, 23 out of his 32 hits. Only slap hitters and contact specialists like Chandler Simpson, Luis Arraez, and Austin Martin are higher. This is wildly out of character of a proven home run hitter. Pull rate collapse. 2021, when he hit 42 home runs, he was pulling the ball 22% of the time in the air. In 2026, it is 5.2% of the time. Dramatic drop from previous seasons. And the table that they showed in this article showed steady decline from 2022 or from 22.2% in 2021 to just 5.2% now. His stance has changed. In 2025, an extremely open stance at 38 degrees open. In 2026, it's much more closed, 10 degrees open, tied for 125th in Major League Baseball. Depth in the box and distance off the plate has also shifted slightly. 26.2 in depth to now 29 to 30.1 feet, inches off the plate. So 26 inches off the plate to now 30 inches off the plate. We talked about his swing metrics. I don't want to get too much into that. Baseball Savant had a 3D visual of this on Mike Petriello's article. So if you want to go check that out, you can go see it on MLB.com or on Padres.com because it was linked to that. Bat speed remains elite. That's the biggest thing that you want to look for. Greater than 75 miles an hour, which is above MLB average of 72. His swing path and tilt, steady at 30 degrees, unchanged for years. Not the issue. It's the attack angle. Where have I heard that before, Frank?
Our show a couple weeks ago.
Correct. It's dropped to 6 degrees, below the MLB average of 10 degrees and around, just outside the zone that you would want to be. The attack direction, 4 degrees, opposite field. That means he's late or he's attacking the ball the opposite way instead of pulling the ball. He's going to get more grounders doing this, which is a career high 52%. He has higher strikeouts, 25%, and opposite field tendencies that kill power against fastballs. 179 average, 0 extra base hits versus 4-seamers this year versus a 293 average he used to have and a 544 slug previously. Bottom line from Mike Petriello's analysis, it's not a lack of power. It's not bad luck. Tatis is hitting the ball as hard as ever, harder than anyone in baseball. It's 100% his approach and timing at the plate. Close stance, lower attack angle, extreme opposite field focus, grounders, short hits, zero pull air power. The good news is everything is fixable. The underlying tools, the hard contact, the bat speed, the swing path are intact. But for Fernando, it's the mechanic stuff, and that's why it's not crazy. Only one ball all season would have been a homer in multiple other parks. April 5th, sac fly that he hit. Every other top 10 hard hit rate player has multiple homers. Tatis is the only one with 0. This mirrors some historical all fields experiments that worked for pure hitters like Tony Gwynn, but rarely for power guys like, rarely for power guys unless they're a guy like James Wood, who's just kind of a freak. Padres are staying patient. Recent quotes suggest that they're switching it up in the lineup but not panicking. But overall, the verdict is Tatis is in a self-inflicted slump driven by mechanical and approach changes. History says the power will return quickly once he reopens his stance and starts attacking the pull side in the air again. But right now, it's the most bizarre, elite, contact, no power story in baseball. And as we talked about earlier on the show, they have been working on this. We saw it yesterday. Did we not? Oh, I did. You weren't there. But yes. So again, this is everything that you want to know about Fernando. It's not his lack of ability. It's not because he's not on PEDs anymore. Not about all the nonsense that people that don't pay attention want to spew to you. He is fixing his swing. It's going to take some time. And once he figures it out and he fixes his swing, Frank, I think you're going to see a lot more home runs coming off the bat of Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yep. I'm about done talking about this. This has become one of the most nauseating conversations that we've had.
I agree.
He is going to hit home runs. He is going to hit them soon. They will be before the end of the season. Please get off his back. There is no one who knows that Fernando Tatis Jr. has not hit a home run this season better than
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Thank you very much.
Not really much more we could do about it. You just have to wait, which is unfortunate. I would love, here's the other thing when people complain about the results not happening immediately. What's your next move to make it happen? What are you going to do next? Curious. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Tim in Miramar. Tim, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Hey, I called to talk about song, but
go ahead.
You're talking to Tatis and Frank, you just said, so give me two chances here. I agree. Enough with the Tatis stuff. You know who cares about all this stuff? Agents, coaches, and players. When we get together and talk about players, me and my buddy, we don't discuss all these metrics and blah, 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 blah. It's so boring. I mean, we beat it to death. Enough already. The eye test will give us the answer. Enough already. Here's my thing. Anyway, I see what Stamen was doing with the lineup last night. And for the most part, I really like what he's been doing. I got no issues, especially some of this really outside the box thinking. But I was hoping Song was going to start last night. I want to see what he does against left-handed pitching. And we all know none of these guys are hitting left-handers anyway. So how much worse could he possibly do? I really want to see what this guy can do. And he didn't start. And that goes to the other point. I think Tatis is playing second base a little too much. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, but it's twofold. He's not as good a second baseman as Song or Cronenworth, and he's certainly a better right fielder than Sheets, Andahar, or Castellanos. And I don't need to see Johnson out there unless it's the ninth inning and we're playing for defense. So I really want to see Song out there, see what he can do against lefties. And I think he's just, I get it with Tatis at second base here and there when Cronenworth was up, but I think that thing is outlived its, ability. Maybe here and there, but last night it really showed in a close game, and there's no way it's going to end up being that way, but really want to see what Song can do, I think, and here we go, guys. I think he's our future leadoff hitter. I know it's crazy. It's early, but we don't have one. Again, he can't do any worse. So let's see what this guy can do. He seems like he's pretty comfortable at the plate. You know, if he can work some walks and see what he can do against righties and lefties, I think maybe he could be our leadoff hitter. But anyway, I like what Stamen's doing. I understand what he did last night, but it didn't work out, and I think he's pushing this Tatis at second too much. Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate the phone call. I mean, the thing with, like, to me, the reason why they had Tatis at second yesterday, well, we got to take a break. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why when we come back. We'll explain, I think, the decision-making on this. And here's the other question, too, Frank. If Song started off his career with the Padres with 3 strikeouts, do you think a lot of fans would be pestering for him to see what he's got?
Nope.
Maybe Tim would. I don't want to speak. It's so early. I think Song's going to be a good player. I like what I've seen so far. But I'll tell you what I think the reason was for the lineup yesterday when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. San Diego baseball might be one of the most dangerous late-inning teams you're not talking about. This week against Portland, Toreros scored 7 runs in the final 3 innings twice, including a comeback win on Friday. The problem is, though, well, they're digging themselves into holes too early. Pitching inconsistencies and big innings from opponents are forcing USD to play from behind. And while the offense is responding, it's not always enough. Meanwhile, USD men's tennis is making history. They just swept UCLA 4-0 to reach their first ever NCAA Sweet 16, and they're doing it with serious momentum, winning 14 of the last 15 matches. Can San Diego baseball turn late game fight into complete wins? And how far can this red hot tennis team go? In a week, it was a week of ups and downs across the University of San Diego athletics, highlighted by late inning drama on the baseball field and a historical breakthrough for men's tennis and competitive showing from softball as season winds down. Let's start with baseball, Frank. Late inning identity is starting to take shape, but the problem is San Diego is running out of time in the season, and they are digging themselves into massive holes that they have to climb out of in late innings.
Yeah, the San Diego baseball continues to show a clear identity. This team does not quit in late games. Against Portland, the Toreros dropped 2 out of 3, but the story wasn't just the losses, it was how they competed. Thursday, San Diego rallied for 7 runs in the final 3 innings, but fell short 9-6. Friday, they flipped the script, scoring 7 of their 8 runs late to secure an 8-4 comeback win. And on Saturday, followed a familiar pattern. San Diego battled back from a deficit to tie the game, but could not hold on in a 9-5 loss. So the takeaway is the offense is heating up. The Toreros now recorded double-digit hits in 6 of their last 8 games, with hitters like C.J. Moran, Andrew Gana, and Diego Gonzalez all swinging hot bats at the moment.
The biggest story, though, for the baseball team is on the mound. I mean, their consistency remains the issue, and they give up big innings. And like Portland's 6-run second inning on Thursday or decisive home runs on Saturday continue to put San Diego in early holes. They continue to give up runs late. They continue to walk the bases loaded. They continue to be overall not consistent on the mound, and that's been their big Achilles heel all season. The fight is there for this team, and the team is dangerous late, this Toreros team is, but they haven't been able to stabilize the innings from a pitching standpoint. They could turn these competitive losses into wins down the stretch if they could get some type of pitching, but they haven't consistently been able to throw strikes. They've allowed too many free passes, and when they do throw strikes, other teams have been tagging the mistakes, and that is not a recipe for success in any level of baseball. On to softball, competitive series but missed opportunities. USD softball wrapped up its final road series of the season against Pacific, taking 1 of 3. Toreros jumped out early in multiple games, including a 2-0 lead on Friday and another early advantage on Saturday. The highlight came in Game 2 when Taylor Johnson launched a 3-run homer that powered San Diego to a 5-3 win. Sunday's finale was another close battle, with San Diego rallying late but falling just short 4-3. The trend here is very similar to baseball. Competitiveness isn't the issue. Execution in key moments is, and whether it's holding leads or finishing rallies, the margin for error has been thin. Still, with the regular season wrapping up, San Diego has showed resilience and flashes of strong offensive production heading into their final home series. But the big story of the week for USD Athletics, Frank, history made in San Diego with men's tennis.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest story was men's tennis. The Toreros made program history by advancing to their first ever NCAA Sweet 16, and they did it in style. After a 4-2 win over UC Santa Barbara, USD followed that up with a dominant 4-0 sweep of UCLA, a team that had previously been a postseason roadblock, led by stars like Oliver Travitt and Stian Klaassen. The Toreros controlled the match from doubles through singles, showing composure in big moments and feeding off a strong home crowd. Now winners of 14 of their last 15 matches, the Toreros head to the Sweet 16 with some serious momentum and chances to keep rewriting program history. And again, those all came right here in San Diego in Linda Vista.
Yeah, they get to host for the second straight year here for the NCAA tournament. They're going to the first ever Sweet 16, and Oliver Tavert is doing a phenomenal job after what was a great summer when he was away and competing at Wimbledon. So we'll see what the Toreros have in store in all three sports: baseball, softball, and in tennis. Baseball back in action on Tuesday against UC Irvine at Fowler Park. Broadcasting from the Millhouse Studios, we know how. We need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. If you want to try to take me down in some trivia today, not sports this time, you'd be qualified for a shot at our grand prize, a $500 gift card to Westgate, Las Vegas, the home of legendary Vegas fun. Now offering the breakaway from the fees package, including a $75 daily dining credit, a two-day spa passes, daily cabaret tickets, complimentary valet parking, and zero resort fees. Special rates and starting at $89 a night. Book now at westgatelasvegas.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973.
Oh, by the way, 49 Winchester is in Pioneertown tomorrow night.
Where is that?
2.5 hours away.
No, I'm not going to 49 Winchester. I like some of their songs. We play it coming back from break every once in a while. Okay. Going to break, I talked about like the Sungwoon Song situation, right? With the deal of, Nick Castellanos starting in right field, because everybody was like upset with that yesterday. So I think it's very justifiable about the lineup yesterday with the Padres, because they're kind of easing in Sungwoon Song to this team. They really are. They're easing in Sungwoon Song to this team, to Major League Baseball. That's why they had him start in AAA El Paso, and that's why they're letting him ease into Major League Baseball. I think Frank brought up a good point with this too. Before we start really talking about the lineup from yesterday and why Craig Stammen made some of these decisions, in our opinion, is he going to be on the team in the next 6 days when Jake Cronenworth comes back? I think it's a legitimate question. I mean, he's the guy that's got options. They could send him back down to AAA El Paso, right? Like, everybody else doesn't. So, what did you mention? I just want you to say it because this is what you said. I think it's spot on.
This is not a 10-day IL stint where he's going to need rehab and come back. It might take 2 to 3 weeks. This is a 7-day concussion protocol. I think today is like day 3 or 4 of that 7-day concussion protocol. So Sungwoon Song may only be here for a couple more days. So, I mean, I think Fernando might be getting a little too much time at second base, as the callers had said previously. But I don't think plugging Sungwoon Song in there for 7 days, getting him used to playing Major League Baseball every single day for a week, only to take him right back out because Cronenworth comes off of concussion protocol, I don't think that's fair to him either. It's good for him to get the experience, but I don't think it's fair to him to get into that mode of playing every single day, and then due to no fault of his own, just gets sent right back down.
If you had to get, I love playing this. If you had to guess game, how many games do you think Fernando has started at second base?
I think I saw the number. I think it's like 8, maybe.
It's 8.
Not one off this time.
Hell yeah. Give yourself a round of applause. Fire up the sound.
Hell yeah.
I feel like 8 games is not enough on the situation of like, we've had enough of this.
No.
It's been 8 games. He's played 29 games in right field. He's played 8 games at second base.
The only thing I would say to that is I think you need to like I said at the beginning, I think you need to shift Laureano into right and then have whoever is replacing, whether it be Sheets, whether it be Castellanos, whether it be Andujar, whether it be Johnson, play left. Because Laureano has played right field before. So I would feel a little bit more comfortable with Laureano playing behind him, who's your everyday player. If you're going to move Fernando in, I would move Laureano to right and then have your replacement, your fill-in, play left.
So I don't mind Fernando playing second base. His numbers are ridiculous playing second base, and I think it's just a coincidence. He's hitting .433 in the 8 games he's played second, with a 1002 OPS. Sorry, he's got a triple, a double, an RBI. It's ridiculous. Like I don't think it really correlates. I have other numbers in terms of like his career numbers. They're slightly better in the infield than they are in the outfield. You could factor out 2021, and they're still better in the infield than they are in the outfield. Ever which way you cut it, that's kind of how it works with Fernando right now. But to go back before we get to the Midday Sports Standoff, to the lineup decision yesterday, I understand it. It justifies for me. Okay, you have Song against the lefty. Fine. You don't want to start the lefties? Good. You had all righties in the lineup yesterday anyway. So you have the righties in. I think the way Castellanos has been hitting in the last 3 games, he was hitting .455. It looked like he was finally starting to come to and figure out his at-bats. He needs consistent at-bats to really turn into a player that can help this team. I don't mind him starting. Miguel Andujar all season has been your best hitter. He has to start. Ty France has been playing very well. Plus, he's a righty. So he needs to start over Gavin Sheets. You'd have those 3 guys play. Who's playing in the field? Well, you're going to have to move some things around, which means Castellanos is going to have to play in the outfield out of the group because they're not putting Ty France out there, and they haven't put Miguel Andujar out there all season long. So from that perspective, it makes sense of why Fernando played second and Castellanos isn't right. You gave up the 1 hit in right field that probably could have been caught from Fernando. I wouldn't consider that a routine play, and it didn't lead to extra runs. But you know what? Maybe Bragley shouldn't have given up a double off the top of the wall in left field to start the inning. Or how about the fact that thing was inches away from being a home run anyway? Mm-hmm. I mean, let's talk about it from that perspective. Everybody wants to blame Castellanos for the loss yesterday. I'm going to defend Castellanos. Guy sold out for the ball. He tried his best. He put him in the lineup to try to swing.
Salty.
But here's the deal. That ball who was it? I forgot who led off the inning with the double. Was it Walker?
I don't know. That might have been Jordan Walker.
He hits it into the corner. That thing was slicing, and it missed a home run by inches on the top of the fence. That ball goes over the fence, and then they get out of the inning.
We're not having this conversation.
We're not even having this conversation. It's still 2-1. There's nothing you can do. Nick Castellanos wasn't stopping that ball. Neither was Fernando. I mean, Fernando could have played right field. That ball goes over the fence. It doesn't even matter. It's too much of a what-if game. You lost 2-1 because you couldn't score any runs. You want to put a defensive replacement in? Sure. I don't necessarily know if it makes that big of a difference yesterday compared to if they didn't let him in.
Salty Taco in the chat, why do we automatically put Crony back in just because we're paying him $15 million a year? It's about production.
You can't just set money on fire.
Jake Cronenworth is making more than your entire bench combined. Yes, that's why you put him in. You're paying him to figure it out. You're paying him to be a starter.
Right.
I understand he's not great. I understand he's not great right now. I completely agree. He has not been fun to watch. but he's making more than your entire bench combined.
That's why. Let's get to the midday sports standoff as we have a couple of minutes.
Are we? Hold on. Let me just
pick somebody else.
Okay. All right. For goodness sake.
Looks like it might be.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, see what we got. Hector, San Diego?
First of all.
Are you raising your voice at me?
I am.
Second of all, Hector in San Diego. Yes. Hector, how you doing today, bud?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. So today's topic, again, Friday, we're going to do a little bit away from sports, a little bit more fun. Another food topic today, McDonald's. Again, as we found out last week, is the most profitable franchise across the country with a bunch of chains. There are 9 states in which there are more than 500 McDonald's restaurants in it. What are the 9 states? Hector, you have the first guess.
I'm like, California?
California is number 1 at 1,492 McDonald's.
That's crazy. I'm going to go with New York. Like on Manhattan.
New York has 767 McDonald's.
What place are they in?
They are number 5.
Wow.
Hector?
You said they had 700?
767, yes. Hector?
I said Texas. Did you guys can you hear me? Texas?
1,224, number 2.
Okay, highly populated states here. Let's go with Florida.
Number 3 at 986. Hector?
Nevada?
Nope, Nevada is going to be the first strike.
Some of these states are kind of small. Let's what about, I gotta think like north, like east. Let's go with New Jersey. Might not be big enough.
Not New Jersey.
How many did Texas have again? What?
Texas had 1,224 again.
And California had what?
1,492.
Columbus, Sildios, and Brew. Okay.
I know, right? Hector, states with more than 500 McDonald's.
I'm gonna go up the coast. I'm gonna say, Washington.
Nope.
We got to move quickly. Ohio's
number 4 at 823. 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Nebraska.
What was that, Hector?
He said Nebraska.
Nebraska.
No, unfortunately not. That is strike 3, Hector. I am sorry.
Virginia.
Virginia, no.
Georgia.
Georgia is 9th on the list at 511.
Wow.
Just made the cut.
Illinois. Chicago.
738.
What number is that? 6?
Yep, 6. 2 left.
Okay. Tennessee? No, it's not big enough. Not big enough. What about, I'm thinking like massive cities. Pennsylvania.
583, number 8. One more. North. Way north.
Minnesota.
Next to it.
Wisconsin.
It's like a hand.
Oh, Michigan? It's not next to it. It's got a
Michigan-
state in between.
Michigan is 631.
Wow. How about that?
There you
Interesting. Perfect for the noon lunchtime hour. When we come back, we'll dabble into some, I'm going to rant a little bit.
Hey, it's
UC San Diego Athletics had a week defined by history and momentum. On the baseball side, the Tritons threw a 7-inning no-hitter against LMU, the first Division I no-hitter in program history, powered by Connor Etnier, Nathan Reese, and Cal Elvis in a dominant 10-0 win. But Big West play has been inconsistent. UCSD dropped the series to Long Beach State despite strong pitching performances, including 7 innings and 9 strikeouts from Steele Murdoch. The issue has been execution, leaving too many runners on base. Meanwhile, softball is heating up at the perfect time. Tritons clinched the number 6 seed in the Big West tournament, powered by Malia Cherry's 14th homer of the season and a grand slam from Dylan Kunkel in a doubleheader sweep. So can baseball turn dominant pitching into consistent wins, while softball carries its momentum into the postseason? This week for the Tritons, it was defined by extremes: historic success on the baseball field, frustrating inconsistency in Big West play, and a softball team that is clearly building momentum at the right time. From a program record no-hitter in baseball to a postseason clinching stretch in softball, Tritons are trending in two very different directions right now as regular season Titans. But on to the historic no-hitter.
Yeah, let's start with that. The Tritons earned a 10-0 run rule win over Loyola Marymount, but the story is the pitching staff here. UC San Diego recorded its first ever Division I no-hitter in program history, and just became the second no-hitter in the history of the school. Connor Etnier opened with 3 shutout innings. Nathan Reese followed with 3 perfect innings and 5 strikeouts, and Cal Elvis closed the door in the 7th inning. It was a complete pitching performance, no hits allowed, just 1 walk all game. Offensively, Drake Bicknell led the way with 3 hits and 3 RBIs, while UC San Diego broke the game open with an 8-run second inning. I would definitely call that breaking the game open, but it turned to struggles as Long Beach came into town.
Yeah, that was the Tuesday night on the no-hitter. But again, when it comes to baseball for UCSD, what matters is right now contention for the Big West tournament, which means you got to win Big West games. And they have been struggling as of late in Big West Conference Series. And this is one that hurts because they were battling to the top of the standings, but dropping 2 out of 3 to Long Beach doesn't put them in a pretty good spot. And they did that this weekend. So Friday showed promise with Steele Murdoch delivering 7 innings and 9 strikeouts with the Tritonsville 3-1 after late runs by the Dirtbags. Saturday was a struggle offensively despite 8 hits. UCSD left 14 runners on base in an 11-1 loss. Sunday, they showed fight again. J.C. Allen's 3-run homer briefly gave the Tritons the lead, but a 4-run 6th inning flipped the game, and the Tritons fell 6-4. The pattern is becoming clear. Pitching is keeping UCSD competitive, but offensive execution with runners on base is costing them series. And the big overall picture for baseball right now is they turn back to a midweek matchup. They're going to play San Diego State, who's red hot. Mm-hmm. The Aztecs are red hot from a baseball perspective. And then they finish conference road play at Cal State Bakersfield. That's a winnable series for the Tritons. At this point in the season, the margin is thin. And UCSD has shown it can dominate anyone on the mound, but needs more consistency to finish games in Big West play, which moves us on to softball for the Tritons, who had a big offensive surge last week.
Yeah, this story is much more positive. The Triton softball team had surged offensively, including a 10-2 run rule win over CSU Bakersfield, powered by 14 hits and a breakout performance from Malia Cherry, who continues to rewrite the record books. Cherry launched her 14th home run of the season in that game, while Zara Wasserman and Haley Garcia continue to provide consistent production at the top of the lineup. They've also clinched the postseason, sweeping the doubleheader against Cal State Bakersfield, highlighted by a grand slam from Dylan Kunkel that helped secure the number 6 seed in the Big West tournament. Pitching is also stabilized with Callie Howard, also delivering a complete game shutout during that stretch, giving UC San Diego momentum heading into postseason. So unlike baseball, softball is peaking at exactly the right time as the
1 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're on each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We have picked up another Don's football player in the chat.
Another Don's football player has hit the chat.
Yes. Isaac Cook has jumped into the chat. Now I know it's not lunchtime because it's 1 o'clock.
To the teachers, if you can hear or if you can see what's going on,
They better be careful because there are some teachers that do listen during their prep period.
do not take the iPad away. Put us on the big screen so we can scold them in front of the entire class. Put us up on the projector or whatever you guys have there. Make sure everyone can see, everyone can hear, and we will scold them in front of everyone.
I told you, Lonzo got in trouble in class. But you know his defense was? I'm supporting an alum and my football coach.
We support the teachers here.
We do. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, according to Rod. How about our guy Noah right here, by the way? With his own name tagged on there, not knowing that this is... Does he not see that that's the deal?
God.
Noah decided to go, hey, Braden, it's me, 5-star Honor Falave Johnson. Love the show. Let me on one day.
Bro.
It says your name, Noah. High school kids are hilarious, dude. Hilarious. And then you got, and I already knew it was going to be his deal. His nickname is Cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So his account name literally says Cookie on there for the other player, Isaac. And immediately goes, how do we feel about Cathedral Catholic safety Noah Lawifi? And then goes, is Isaac Cook cooking or is he going to be a bust?
Bust.
It's funny. I'm just, they're great kids. So like, that's why I'm like,
steal
cool.
his NIL, Noah. Jeez.
Yeah, come on, man. Too much. I will say this. Congrats to Cook. He picked up like 5 or 6 offers at the college showcase on Wednesday.
Hey, congratulations.
Wyoming,
good for you.
Utah State, Nevada. So it's great.
That's cool. Go back to class and pay attention.
You know what you need to go to those schools? Good grades. Got to talk about that. Isaac, I think, is going to have a big year for the Dons in the fall. He is. You watched him play in the CIF championship game.
Yes.
Number 4?
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he ain't bad.
Yeah. Didn't get to see Noah, though. Noah was hurt last year. It's good that he came. Noah has come back from he had a very tough leg injury. Remember from last year?
Yeah.
He's already back full force, ready to go,
wow.
Which is incredible on the recovery. So hopefully they have some good seasons this year for the Dons. Now go back to class.
To have the recovery ability of what, a 16, 17-year-old?
Yeah. I go play softball for 3 games and I need a week off. Yeah, Rod was at the game.
Yeah, he was.
Shout out, Rod. You know what? I might have to, if we make it that far again, maybe for the chat fam, I'll make red and gold Braden Surprenant Show shirts so they can fit in with the crowd.
There you go.
We might have to do that if we make it that far again. There's still a lot of time to go, and there's a lot of good teams in San Diego this year.
Maybe we could do a show from Southwestern.
That'd be great. You would have to do it by yourself. Doing a show before a game. And you know what? Gwen and Chris used to do those all the time. Get Gwen and Chris out there.
And I won't have to drive 20 minutes to get there. That's right. I live right down the street.
Add it to the 97 through the fan events thing. I had, you know what? Shout out to, I had somebody come up to me yesterday that is a coach at Castle Park, which is cool. His son's playing quarterback down there too. So shout out Castle Park football. Castle Park had some good football back in the day. Former NFL coach John Fox went to Castle Park.
Rod with a reminder that there is a Taco Bell Cantina right across the street as well.
Yes. All right. Let's I'm going to rant about something. Now, Jake Waters asked me yesterday in person. Yeah, shout out to the Moreno brothers. They're the ones that came up to me yesterday. But Jake Waters asked me in person yesterday when we were going to talk about this because he wanted to tune in. Hopefully he's in the YouTube chat. I haven't seen him in a little bit, but this is the time that we have now. Okay. College football playoff. Here's what kind of spurred a lot of this. And this is where I'm going to get irritated with some of the national pundits that like to defend the SEC and the Big Ten all the time. The American Football Coaches Association, which is all different levels of coaching, and they have a college group, obviously, that they elect what their opinions are as a group, so you can understand what the coaches are asking for and everything like that. They usually meet every year. They have an AFCA board. They have clinics and stuff like that. Like, it's for coaches. So the AFCA has voted on what they want for college football, like what the coaches want for college football. This is not meaning this is into rules, but this is the coaches' input for what they would like to see in college football. I like everything that they've said. The American Football Coaches Association is officially pushing for some of the biggest structural changes college football has ever seen, signaling that the current system may already be outdated just 2 years into the 12-team playoff era. The AFCA board voted in favor of several major recommendations that would fundamentally reshape the postseason calendar and importance of conference championships. AFCA wants a 24-team college football playoff, which is not actually what they said. They said they want anything that's like going to expand. They'll take, they're in favor of the 16 or the 24, the different playoff expansions that are getting pushed. I'm in favor of that too. We'll get to that in a second. The AFC recommended a format with the maximum number of participants aligning with growing support from coaches, television stakeholders, and even political figures. Why this matters, the sport just expanded to 12 teams beginning in the 2024 season, yet coaches and administrators already appear to believe more access, more TV revenue, more playoff spots, fewer complaints from major programs. Expansion protects powerful conferences from being left out. Expansion also, if done right, could actually incorporate everybody into the playoff. I'm going to get to that in a second. The other thing they want to do is eliminate conference championship games. I'm all in favor of that too. I think conference championship games are a gigantic waste of money and time and effort and a waste of watching. There's no reason for me to watch these. This is enormous because conference championship weekend has become a major TV revenue generator, playoff resume booster. I forget that noise. Traditional part of the modern college football calendar. Conference championship games are a waste of everybody's time. Coaches want them gone because the season is too long. Sure, fair enough. Players are taking too much physical punishment. Sure, championship games often create unfair disadvantages before the college football playoff. Yeah, 100%. Want to know why? Because there's no automatic qualifiers for these things. For some of the power conferences there are, but it's unnecessary. They're unnecessary games. They're not built equally. It's an unnecessary extra risk. I agree with that. It's a potential playoff elimination trap. Also true. Why do I have to play an extra game when teams sitting at home don't, and they don't get punished for it, but I do? And another week of injuries before the real money games begin. 100%. I think the SEC championship game is a waste of time. I think the Big Ten championship game is a complete waste of time. Aside from the fact that they don't view the Big 12 and the ACC to the same standard, it's also a gigantic waste of time because guess who didn't make the college football playoff last year as a champion? Duke. They are wastes of time and money and effort. Get rid of them. If the only thing standing in the way of expanding the playoff is eliminating the conference championship games, I am first in line to say get rid of these nonsense games. The last thing that they threw out there was the season length in terms of let's get this thing done by the first week of January. College football calendar is now stretching to late January. The 2026 national title game was played on January 19th. The 2027 national title game is going to be played on January 25th. It's ridiculous. Season ending by the second week of January is what the AFCA wants. At least 6 days between games, more student-friendly, athlete-friendly structure. Unless you're going to change all of the schools and put them on a quarter system, get rid of these extended games into January. I don't think there's much irony to this, because this is where like writers and reporters want to get on their high horse. They're like, oh, well, the coaches want more games, but they don't want the schedule to go late. You can fix this problem. That's why they eliminated conference championship games. They're old. They're boring. They're not entertaining anymore. It's a waste of everybody's time. It's simple. You create the playoff that the FCS is already doing, and you get everybody involved, and you get the 10. They're not going to do this. This is where I disagree with them, because it's an excuse to get like the lousy teams from the SEC into the conference, whatever it is. You have all 10 conference champions get in. You have at-larges in there. You know, you can mix it up. You can max out how many teams get in to the conference, to the college football playoff. And before people start freaking out about, oh, there's going to be blowouts, all this stuff, guess what happens? When you expand the tournament to 24 teams and everybody gets a slice of the pie, they all start getting money and funding. They get the eyeballs on their school. They start competing competitively with recruiting. It starts to balance out the sport, and everybody's playing by the same rules. But this is going to eliminate how important the big game is between Ohio State and Michigan. Shut up. It's already important to a lot of people. Josh Pate popping off about how it's going to eliminate the importance of these games because a loss matters right now. A loss doesn't matter. It matters for certain teams. It matters for the ACC and the Big 12. But in the reality, it doesn't matter for the SEC and the Big 10. Get off your hypocritical high horse about how you just got to win your games and you're in the conference. Give me a break. Win your games and you're in the tournament. You got to win your games like we do. Oh, you're like cupcake schedule you have, and then you got to like go, trust me, bro, on the SEC schedule you play. Give me a break. Level out the playing field. Give everybody a clear path to make the tournament, and stop on a high horse telling me how I should feel and what should happen as you come from a conference that could literally just play out in a fair way because they get the benefit of the doubt. Unlike the ACC and the Big 12. Unlike schools that have been burned time and time again from these committees that continue to change the goalposts, continue to change the stats that matter. Eliminate all of that. And guess what? You are going to have more important games, because you know what? When Western Kentucky plays Florida International and both teams are competing for a playoff spot, guess what I'm going to watch now? A little Western Kentucky and Florida International. I'm going to watch West Virginia play Texas Tech if they're both locked into a playoff race. I'm going to tune in to San Diego State playing Washington State on October 31st if both teams are competing for a playoff spot. Sure, all of a sudden, Ohio State and Michigan's not the greatest thing that's ever happened because you shove it down my throat all the time. But you know what is? San Diego State playing Washington State. You have all these other games and conferences that now matter, and it's not just the same 5 freaking teams that you have to shove down our throat every single year because they were the first teams that were on television back in the 60s and 70s, and therefore they're the greatest thing to ever happen to college football. It's stupid. And anybody that's got any affiliation with the SEC that's against against college football playoff expansion, just know the SEC is in bed with what TV company? ESPN. And ESPN has what? The controlling rights of the college football playoff. And the SEC And ESPN, that control everything, they like how everything's going. This is great. We own everything. What happens if the college football playoff expands to 16 or more teams? In the contract, they now have to renegotiate who has the the media rights for the college football playoff. Why do you think ESPN and the SEC don't want to expand the college football playoff? Is it about the game? Is it about the best teams making the tournament? No. It's about money. Why do you think the Big Ten wants 24 teams? Who are they in bed with, TV-wise? Anybody want to tell me? Fox and NBC. I'm sure Fox and NBC would love to have the college football playoff. So when you get entities that are part of these organizations trying to tell you what's best for college football, take a step back and start realizing where they're coming from. Oh, the college football playoff expanding to 24 teams, that's not going to make any of these games more interesting. It's going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse. Oh, just like 4 teams to 12 teams did? It made it worse? Eventually, the money will balance itself out. Other teams will have a bigger slice of the pie. Other conferences will have a bigger slice of the pie. And instead of them finagling the money and making the rules so only they get to get in the playing, they get to go in the playoff and compete for a national championship, it would actually level the playing field. And when you level the playing field, you're not going to get Georgia dominating everybody because guess what? They got to compete with other schools that have money now. It's a big reason why they don't want to do this. They don't want to compete. These schools don't want to compete. They like being on the top and the rules benefiting them, and they're trying to protect it. It's stupid. Stop listening to the national media talk about like, this is terrible for college football and all that. It's great. It's wonderful. I would love to see a West Kentucky go in to Tuscaloosa with a more balanced roster and beat up on the Crimson Tide. I'd love it. It'd be great. It'd be entertaining. Wouldn't you love to see that, Frank?
I would, yes.
I would love to see that. You're going to tell me right now that more college football playoff games is going to upset you? I'm not going to watch this. This is going to be a blowout. This is terrible. You're going to tell me that doesn't make all these games more meaningful when you have an opportunity to play? I mean, if you're watching college football right now and your team loses 2 games early in the season, why would you even watch the rest of the year? You're playing for nothing. It's a waste of time. But now all of a sudden the college football playoff expands and you have a chance to make it. Am I watching the rest of the season now? Probably. How does that make the games less important? I don't understand. It might make the Iron Bowl less important to everybody that watches the Iron Bowl, but guess what? That's one less game. That's one game that gets slightly affected, and it's still important to people. Make it even. It's sports. Otherwise, why do you even have all these other groups? It's ridiculous. Now, I'm not a believer in everything getting expanded. I think expanding the NCAA tournament is a waste of time. Everybody's already represented there. You don't need to change that. It's funny. They want to expand the NCAA tournament for college basketball. They want to expand that because who does it benefit, Frank? 2 conferences.
Yep.
The Big Ten and the SEC. We're all about expanding the NCAA tournament, which has no business expanding. But then you get to the college football playoff, and all the same entities are like, oh, this is terrible. We can't do this. This is terrible. Why? Because expanding the college football playoff, who does that benefit? That benefits everybody besides the top 2 conferences. Pay attention to that the next time they try to shove some BS down your throat. When we come back, Craig Stammen was on with the morning show, part of our manager's report. We'll hear what he had to say about the Padres. We will come back at the end of the show, talk Padres Cardinals for the weekend, and get you ready for some Padres baseball. Braden Surprenant Show, setting us over at Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The NFL draft is over, but here's the real story on the draft. This wasn't about a superstar pick. This wasn't really about superstars at all. This was a depth draft. Teams like the Bills traded back, turning one pick into 5 because the talent gap just wasn't there this year. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, executives say they killed it, stacking talent and culture guys across the board. You saw aggressive teams like the Chiefs trade up, and patient teams like the Cleveland Browns sit back and still win. And don't forget the risks. Injury concerns, older prospects, big-time gambles that could define this draft. But the biggest takeaway, the NFL is still built in the trenches. If you can't block or rush the passer, you're not going to win a lot of football games in the National Football League, or really any league for that matter. So who actually got better and who just thinks they did. All right, let's talk about the NFL draft from this past couple of weeks. It's officially in the books, 257 picks, 3 days. Now the real question begins. Who actually got better? Because once you get past the hype, the headlines and the draft grades, this is where we start separating smart organizations from the rest. And the overall theme of this year's draft, Frank, volume over flash.
Yeah, we talked about it leading up to the draft, and it played out exactly the way we thought it would. It was not a superstar-heavy class, so teams just adjusted to getting the best draft they possibly could. Take the Buffalo Bills, for example. They traded back multiple times, turning 1 first-round pick into 5 total picks, which should tell you everything. And that teams viewed the late first round and early second rounds as more or less the same kind of tier. So instead of reaching, stack picks, get as many guys as you possibly can. And that seems like more of a modern day NFL draft style rather than just a this year, more of a this year kind of deal.
Yeah, you start looking at, who won the weekend, and one team getting a ton of love around the league is the Miami Dolphins. Executives are saying that they absolutely killed it this weekend, or over the weekend, a couple of weekends ago. They brought in a mix of talent and culture guys. They land Chris Bell as a mid-round steal, Caden Proctor, a top 5 talent who slipped due to concerns, and multiple defensive pieces expected to contribute early. That's how you build a roster. So it's not just talent, it's identity for a team like the Miami Dolphins. And whether or not Chris Ello will be happy about it after the fact will remain to be seen. But at least they drafted a little bit differently. You had a lot of aggressive and patient teams a couple of weekends ago. When you talk about strategy, Kansas City Chiefs stayed aggressive, and they traded up and got Mansour Delane because they believed other teams were about to take him. That's a team that's trusting its board.
Yeah, absolutely. And meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns went the opposite route. They stayed patient. They let the board fall and still walked away with multiple receivers that they had coveted. So 2 completely different strategies. Both of them worked, but only if your evaluations are correct did you really get the full benefit from your strategy working.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the risky picks and some of the big bets. Every draft has them. The Raiders took a gamble on Jermod McCoy, top-tier talent with serious injury concerns. Minnesota Vikings bet on an upside with defensive tackle Caleb Banks, despite multiple surgeries. And the LA Chargers went against the grain. They drafted a 25-year-old prospect in Akeem Masider, prioritizing production over youth. I mean, these are picks that define drafts. They're not the obvious picks. A lot of risk involved, but without taking big risks, sometimes you don't get the big rewards.
Yeah, and for a guy like Jermod McCoy, that was a guy who was projected to go in the first round and fell, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was the first pick of the 4th round. So there must be some serious speculation on McCoy's knee in order for him to fall that far down the draft for a guy who was supposed to be a first-round pick.
One thing is clear, though, it's still the draft. It's still the trenches. The draft is won in the trenches. The league is won in the trenches. And offensive and defensive lines still dominate team building. Eagles double down on the offensive line. Lions aggressively positioned themselves to grab a top tackle. Texans targeted interior linemen early. The message was clear. If you can't block and you can't rush the passer, nothing else really matters. But a few storylines to watch, a few under-the-radar developments. Steelers quietly took a swing at quarterback Drew Aller, betting on development, not immediate impact. Jets were one of the most aggressive teams in terms of trade analytics and board manipulation. And the Jags once again ignored consensus and drafted their guys regardless of public rankings. And for a team that's made the playoffs the last couple of years, you know what? They might be doing things a little bit better than what maybe the experts say.
That's one thing that I have noticed over this draft.
125 on a Friday. That'll light up the college football world a little bit. I've been stewing on that one for a while, all week, waiting to get my take on that. Just stewing, waiting for an opportunity. All right, let's get to today's Managers Report. The Managers Report with Craig Stammen is brought to you by SDCCU. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. A little bit of technical difficulties this morning, but we did get a clean enough clip for you as Craig Stammen joined Woods and Paul this morning on Ben and Woods. Here's what he had to say on the Managers Report.
Yeah, we just got to keep at it. It's, there's no secret sauce. Otherwise, we'd have figured it out by now, hopefully. You had a crash out after the first Giants game, and the coaches kind of had hard, powwows and, hey, we got to figure this out. What can we try differently? And, we're working behind the scenes as much as we can to, change up any little thing that might get them going. But, the players are working hard and they're going to get going. And the good thing about what we've got going on right now is we're able to win some games, and we don't really have any of our big guns firing on all cylinders, outside of maybe Xander Bogaerts. So, that bodes well for the future. Get these guys going, get them kind of hot at the same time. And then, maybe we can reel out some games where we score, quite a few runs. But just stick to it. Like you said, long season. There'll be some crash outs along the way, but we just got to manage those and keep at it.
I love how crash out has been added to everybody's vocabulary now. Now adults all say crash out. So now the kids have to say it's not cool, right? You got the manager of the Padres using crash out. He's right, though. You're going to have these throughout the year. They just have to try to survive them as much as possible and then go on longer runs. I mean, this is everything that we've talked about since spring training, Frank.
Oh, exactly. And we talked about before, getting everyone right at the same time. How often ever is everyone right at the same time? There's always somebody who's a little bit off. And now we've gotten to a point where we've had 3 or 4 guys that have started really off. 3 or 4 of your most important guys have started really, really off. And they're starting to all get it together, and they're getting it together in their own time. They will be just fine.
I think so too. I mean, with the offensive struggles of the Padres and, throughout the year, obviously there's some guys that are doing well, some guys that are not. And to answer your question, how often do we see that? We don't see that very often. And when we do see that, Frank, teams go on historic winning streaks. That's when teams hit historic winning streaks.
The last big one I remember, of course, was the Moneyball A's. They won 22 straight games.
Correct.
I mean, that was everyone clicking together at the same time, and also luck in that as well.
And how bad did they start the season?
Oh, they were pitiful.
Horrific.
To start that season. So it'll come around. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine.
And in the meantime, you're a game out of first place.
Exactly.
It's May. We talked about with AJ Cassavell yesterday in the press box.
And I think you're a game. Did the Dodgers play last night?
They did not.
Okay, so now you're
even. So
now you're even. You were that half a game out because they had one more game than you. So
Correct.
Now you're even on games.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll talk about Padres and Cardinals tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday to finish up the show. Leading into Gwynn and Chris, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. San Diego High School Sports producing a rare kind of athlete right now, and Daniel Horniak might be the best example. 6'9" sophomore at Poway High who plays both baseball and volleyball at the varsity level. But by the way, both spring sports here in San Diego. He doesn't just participate, by the way. He's good enough to pitch at nearly 90 miles an hour in baseball and be called a unicorn in volleyball because of his size, his passing ability, and his athleticism. But there's a catch. He's been invited to the under-19 national team development camp, which could force him to miss the CIF playoffs in both sports. So the question becomes, do you chase high school championships or international development at 17 years old? And honestly, there's no easy answer, just opportunity, pressure, and a decision most athletes will never have to make. This week in San Diego high school sports, it is defined by only one theme: specialization and versatility, and what it costs to chase greatness. And no story captures that better than Poway's Daniel Horniak. At Poway High School, he is a sophomore, and he is doing something you almost never see at an elite high school level. He's playing 2 varsity sports at once, baseball and volleyball. At 6'9", he's already a mismatch problem in both, a pitcher and a first baseman in baseball, and a high-level two-way presence in volleyball. But here's the catch: he may miss the CIF playoffs in both sports because of an international opportunity. Horniak has been invited to the under-19 national team development camp with a chance to represent the United States in Canada later this month. That's the kind of decision most athletes never get close to making: stay local for playoffs or chase international development at age 17. And here's the honest truth: there's not really a right answer, just opportunity cost. His volleyball coach calls him a unicorn, not just because of his size, but because he can pass, defend, and move like a much smaller athlete. And in baseball, he's already hitting 89 to 90 miles an hour as a sophomore. This is what makes his situation so unique and so complicated, because at some point, every elite multi-sport athlete does have to choose. A very interesting conversation for a very unique player, Frank.
Yeah, for me, I'm one of those guys that if you want to play like one of the best, you have to put yourself up against the best. And I think internationally might do that for him. So for me, if I'm Daniel, I'm taking the international bit. It's something you may never get an opportunity to do again. Still have 2 years of high school left, so I understand you may not get to CIF playoff again, but that is something you at least still have opportunity to get to. For me, I take international, and representing your country is something that you may never. That's a once in a lifetime potentially opportunity that is put in front of you, and as a way to grow, I don't see how you could pass that up.
Especially as a sophomore. Now,
Yeah.
I think there's other questions. If he was a senior, I think it would make it a little bit more difficult,
100%.
obviously, because guess what you can't get to do? You don't get to go back to high school and play, with your friends, with kids you grew up with. And that's already a dying kind of situation in both youth sports right now anyway. So that is a difficult decision. Is that for baseball? It doesn't specify what sport.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters. I mean, representing your country in any sorts of situation is really impressive, regardless. If he takes the baseball route, he might not ever be able to represent his country at an Olympic or something like that, right? But if he goes the volleyball route and he's elite at volleyball, maybe he gets to do that in the future. But there's not a lot of answers there for what he can and cannot do. Maybe he misses out on the playoffs. I think as a sophomore, you got to go do the international thing. I think it's a different conversation later on, especially if he has never done it before. But now shifting to a bigger picture of San Diego talent spreading across college baseball. Former local stars continue to produce at a high level. Jet Kennedy is hitting .337 at Cal Berkeley, power numbers from the shortstop spot. Trevor Smith contributing at Washington State. He is the brother of Austin Smith, who played at Granite Hills and then went on to play at USD before now getting drafted and playing for the Toronto Blue Jays organization. You got Matt Priest out of La Jolla Country Days hitting for .340 at Washington State after transferring from USC. San Diego isn't just producing talent, but it's also exporting impact players immediately into the college lineups. And as we do these high school reports, it's good to go back and look at what some of those kids that have already graduated are doing at the college level, Frank.
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice to see how some of these players have progressed. And the same thing can be said as on the softball side as the region continues to dominate more, staying locally. At Stanford, Torrey Pines product, Kara Chan is hitting nearly 400, while El Cap's Ava Gall is also producing at an elite clip behind the plate. And at Arizona, Cathedral Catholic's
Serenity Trice. 134, final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show. As we broadcast to you live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. The Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. You going to go to any of the games this weekend?
I'm working the game on Sunday. I'll be here.
Oh, nice.
This Sunday and next Sunday for the games. So
you got to do with Sam?
Yes. But I think I'm going to try to go to the game tonight, but I think I'm going to take this weekend to relax a little bit.
Nice. It's good to watch some of these games on TV a little bit. Sit back, relax. I don't have Apple TV Plus, so I'll send you a text. I'm going to go somewhere to watch it.
Never mind.
Yeah. So I'm going to go somewhere to watch it tonight. Should be fun. I'm going to go with so my friend coaches at Surprenant, right, for volleyball, for beach. They got eliminated from the playoffs, but we're going to go support their boys team who's playing Canyon Crest today.
Nice.
So that's at like 6. So I'm going to go to that, maybe go to happy hour before, go to that, and then go watch the Padres play. And the Ducks are in action tonight.
Yes, against Vegas.
That series is tied at 1. We don't really talk too much. I mean, we haven't talked a lot about the NBA or the NHL playoffs. I mean, I can't watch the NBA playoffs. I try. I really do. There's so many like ticky-tack fouls, and there's just so much nonsense. It's hard for me to get into it. The NHL playoffs, though, I think have been great. I've been watching that almost every night after the around the Padres. But big game for the Ducks. The Ducks right now could be up 2-0.
Yeah,
with how well that they played in Vegas, they're the only series that's even right now, and they got Vegas tonight at Anaheim, a place that they have not lost so far in the playoffs. They've played really good hockey at home, and the way that they've been able to play, where they have these young players that don't know any better. They have a couple of veterans that have been there and won Stanley Cup Finals, but also with Joe Quenneville as their head coach. I mean, this is a scary team to deal with in the playoffs. Now, if they can survive Vegas for the next couple of games in this series, kind of fit the mold that they did against Edmonton, I don't know if they're not. I mean, Colorado looks unbeatable right now. I mean, they got into a shootout with Minnesota in game 1, was a 9-6, and then they hammered Minnesota in the last game to go up 2-0. They're going to go to Minnesota now for game 3. But Colorado's up 2-0 on Minnesota. Vegas and Anaheim tied at 1 game each. Buffalo has a lead on Montreal 1-0 after was it 2 days ago that they played? They're going to play tonight. And then Carolina's already up 3-0 on Philly. Carolina has yet to lose a game in the playoffs too. Carolina and Colorado look to be on somewhat of a collision course right now, but maybe Carolina Buffalo would be a pretty good Eastern Conference final.
That would be an incredible series.
But so far, I mean, I've watched mostly the Ducks games this playoffs. I know you like hockey. What's your what have you noticed the most out of the NHL playoffs?
The Flyers, as they said after game 1, they just do not look ready for the moment. They're not quick enough. They're ahead of pace from where they should be right now in their rebuild. So to have gotten this far is actually very, very good for them. Congratulations to them for getting it this far, but they are not ready for this moment yet. The Buffalo Sabres look legit. The Ducks look like a very, very good team, and you could tell how bad they want it. There was that schmoz in the third period of the game a couple nights ago where just everybody dove into the net, backing up Dostal to preserve the lead. And yeah, Colorado's just an unstoppable force right now. So playoff hockey has been living up to its expectation. It has been incredible no matter which series you watch.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to tonight's game, Vegas and Anaheim. I mean, Dostal was so close to a shutout. So close to a shutty. Gives up a goal with 5 seconds left on the power play. But yeah, Anaheim has been. I feel like you got to be more confident as a Ducks fan going into the games in Anaheim than you do a Vegas Golden Knights fan after the last couple. Vegas just looks like they're like just playing. They look like they parked the bus like the whole series, and they get lucky. They try to get some early luck on the goal and then just play. And they've played incredible defense. It's hard to score against Vegas, but that's just the way it looks like. I feel confident as a Ducks fan going into game 2. But again, like the rebuild you're showing up earlier than I think. I mean, I know it's taken a long time, but with this group going into the season, making the playoffs seem like a pipe dream. And they've been able to just, they outscored everybody early. Like they just used everything on offense. Now they're actually playing good defense. I thought they looked good on the forecheck too the other night. I mean, they didn't use that a lot throughout the year, but they put pressure on Vegas all night on Wednesday. And if they can continue that pressure and just that relentless effort, I think they're going to have a big game tonight against the Golden Knights. And I will say this. You saw a lot of the veteran guys getting a lot more ice time in game 2 because you lose game 2 in Vegas. It's going to be tough to come back. That's an even split now coming back, and you did your job as a road team. You're the only team that has won on the road right now in this round of the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Ducks, you also you can't take Vegas lightly. I know that sounds really stupid in the playoffs, second round especially, but this is a team that its entire identity has been the postseason. They've been in the postseason, I believe, every single year except for maybe one that they've been in existence. So this is a team that knows how to get it done in the playoffs, whether they have the best team or don't. They are built, they are ready for this moment. So you really cannot underestimate, say, hey, we're coming home. Just know that if you really want to put a stamp on this series, win tonight. That's a big way to do it.
I think so too. I think so too. So should be a fun one tonight in hockey. Let's transition back into Padres baseball. This is a pretty important series for the Padres against the Cardinals as of right now. I said it on the pregame show yesterday, and I'll say it again. And I got this a couple of years ago, a long time ago, from a longtime baseball guy. And, you look at like the strength of schedule, you look at like who you're playing and everything like that. It's like, oh, you're playing the Cardinals. They're not expected to do well. In baseball in particular, more so than anything else, especially in professional baseball, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And this Cardinals team could peter out at the end of the year. Right now, it doesn't look like they're going to. I mean, eventually, maybe their bullpen will catch up to them or some of the youth. Over a course of 162. They are another team that is playing better than what their stats say. The run differential is not very good. Their bullpen's 27th in baseball. They're winning despite a lot of those things. They remind me a lot of the 2019 start to the season for the Padres, except they don't have the stars that the Padres had, like a Manny Machado, but they were getting like a lot of things to go their way early, and then they just couldn't survive the rest of the year. But unfortunately for the Padres, like, This is where you need to be able to get some wins against the team that is red hot right now. The team you're playing right now in the Cardinals is not going to be the same Cardinals team that teams were playing in September. No. I don't think so. And the Padres have done very well at Petco Park against the Cardinals. But this is a very important series because you want to cash in on these while you can. I know that the Cardinals are playing a lot better, and maybe it won't come down to playoff seeding, and maybe it won't come down to tiebreakers. But when you're competing against teams, especially right now in the Central with the way the records are, this is the time that you have to capitalize on having winning records against these teams. Padres did that against the Cubs. They split last year at this point in time, so they're going to have to do that when they go to Chicago. But these games get to Central until teams start falling back down to earth. You don't know which teams in the Central are going to rise to the top and which ones are going to fall, and you want to make sure you have the winning records against the teams that do rise to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to be playing St. Louis again in the middle of next month. This is a very long playoff caliber road trip that you have to go through with the schedule. You're playing the Cardinals now. You got the Brewers at Milwaukee. They're always tough. Seattle, again, that'll be another tough series. Of course, the Dodgers. The A's are at home. And then you have the Phillies, who, no matter how bad their start is, they're starting to turn it around now. And they're starting to look like the Phillies that we expected them to look like. The Nationals are meh to close out the month. Then you go to Philly again. Then it's the Mets. We know what that is. Cincinnati's another team that's playing above its weight class right now. Baltimore has a solid team. The Cardinals, Rangers, Braves, Dodgers, Cubs into July, Dodgers again. Then you get Arizona and Toronto, and then it's the All-Star break. So you're playing a lot of very, very good teams right now. So it's going to be, I'm going to warn you guys now, it's going to be very, very up and very, very down throughout this entire stint. Stick with it. They will be fine. We don't need to crash out after every single loss because this is a really, really tough month and a half to 2 month stretch the Padres are going to have to go through with very, very few respites in between.
And that's what we talked about going into this month. That's why it was utterly important to have the April that the Padres had. The Padres had a really good April. They had a better April than you would think. Obviously, off to a slow start with the month of March that they had, with the Tigers and the Giants early. I think that Giants series is going to bother them for the most of the year because that Giants team is not very good. But this is a tough Cardinals team right now. You got to try to take 2 out of 3 over the weekend and split in a 4-game series. I mean, it's hard to win 4-game series. It'd be better to win 3 out of 4 at home. Because use that home field advantage. I think it's going to be tough to sweep the weekend, but Milwaukee's not going to be much of an easier contest. I mean, they've continued to play good baseball. Seattle, who you happen to sweep at home, is going to be tough. It'd be nice to win 2 out of 3 there, but that's another place in the schedule that's difficult. Then you got the Dodgers, who is always a handful for the Padres. And you know what? As you mentioned before, I think the A's are in first place. I know
the A's are good.
The A's are solid.
They are legitimate.
They're not. You can't just roll in. Philadelphia starting to figure it out a little bit, and then who knows? Washington continues to score a lot of runs, but you go through that entire schedule, and then you get to the end of June. I mean, you got a stretch at the end of June where you got in St. Louis, which is tough. You talked about Baltimore, the Texas Rangers are near the top of the standings of the American League West. Atlanta Braves are one of the best team in baseball. I mean, you homestand where you got Atlanta and the Dodgers for 6 straight games. Mm-hmm. And then you go to Chicago to take on the Cubs at the end of June. And then it doesn't get much easier because then you go to the Dodgers again for 4 for the 4th of July weekend. And then you got Arizona for 4, who you're competing with for a playoff game.
That's a little bit of a respite.
But still, that's a division rival you got to deal with. And then Toronto. And who knows what Toronto's like? Because before you played Toronto last year, the sky was falling in Canada. And then they kicked your ass and then ended up going to the World Series. So that's all before the All-Star break. There's a lot of good players. A lot of good teams that this team has to deal with. And so these wins are important. This is a tough stretch. And then you get to the All-Star break, and the tough road trip you got to deal in the summertime with Kansas City and Atlanta and Miami. I mean, a lot of humid areas for you. And the schedule doesn't really start to lighten up until relatively the beginning part of August. And, hopefully you'll see what happens with Houston because they're not very good as of right now. But you got the Giants, the Pirates. I mean, there's a lot of teams that might be a shell of themselves in the second half of the season. But this is the big port in the schedule that you have to compete with.
Your Golden Gopher's about to get a chat ban.
Who knows if that is the Golden Gopher or not? Maybe they got wise and changed their names.
Whoever they are, they're going to get a chat ban.
They're about to they get a foul for sure.
Yeah, several actually.
He draws the foul.
How bad is it going to be for them if one of your players gets us the Eric Hosmer cameo?
That's going to be
as a rejoin. How
rough.
Bad for them would that be?
Well, what's even more rough is when you tell Coach Doyle about it, and you put and then all of a sudden the running on Monday is going to be awful. What you can't have is Coach Doyle finding out about the YouTube chats, and even if one of the players has graduated. I tell you what, it's never good when Sean Doyle says, bring your running shoes to practice. None of my teams have ever done that. That I was on, It was great. But A lot of the other teams that have had to deal with that, it's rough. And you could just keep chalking up stuff. Don't encourage Coach Sorhan to chalk up more stuff for Project Crucible, where they stay there for 3 days. That's even more rough. Anyway.
The chat doesn't go away, does it?
Huh? No, it'll be on there.
You can still see it.
Right,
if you go,
exactly.
Okay. It's
screenshots.
It does stay there.
Not very good. I got 4 minutes left, and then I get to go home, so I don't really.
So with those 4 minutes, Michael McGreevy going for the Cardinals tonight against Griffin Canning.
Dad's a uni Don. There's your local connection. He's from San Clemente. Do we consider San Clemente part of San Diego, really? I mean, they feel more San Diego than they feel Orange County, but yes, somewhat local.
Most importantly for tonight, again, Apple TV tonight. It is NASCAR night.
Nicky P's going. He got the ticket for it.
You need a theme ticket in order to get the NASCAR bobblehead. If somebody wouldn't mind letting me borrow that bobblehead, that would be very appreciated.
You want to borrow it?
Borrow the bobblehead.
So you're not giving it back?
No. I would not be giving it back. It would be a permanent borrowing of the bobblehead.
They sell them, right? Did you see somebody already? This is a foul. Chalk it up. Chalk up the foul to anybody that did this.
He draws the foul.
Did you see that there were people posting already on eBay and stuff and other sites the Mason Miller bobblehead 2 days before for $70 before they even went and got it?
If you are one of those people, you should not be getting the bobblehead. Period. Stop. You should not be going to a game solely for the giveaway to turn a profit. Sorry. That is ridiculous.
I agree. All right. McGreevy and Canning tonight has the representation to potentially be a pitcher's duel. What does Kieran Canning got to do tonight to replicate not to replicate, but I feel like to feel more confident in this rotation, it would be nice to see him really build off of his last outing.
I would say just do what he's done. Do what he did. Just get just get a couple of innings in. Give me 5 innings, 4 runs. Just do the number 5 starter thing. That's all you have to do.
Here's my problem with that. We can't have everybody be a number 5 starter.
I understand that, but he is coming back. You want to see him get to form. He's still getting ready. He's still amping up to pitch in the major leagues. Right now, it's give me a number 5 start. In a couple of weeks, then it's going to be I want 6 innings and 2 runs. I'm trying to temper expectations a little bit.
If he gives up 3 runs or less, I'll be satisfied. Bold prediction of the night. I got one for you.
Bold prediction for the
weekend. Padres tonight. We're going to do tonight.
Okay.
Padres tonight. Maybe you do tomorrow then.
Okay.
I'll do tonight. We'll both do it. Padres tonight will have their leadoff man of the game get a hit. They'll lead off the game with a hit tonight. That's my bold prediction.
Okay.
They haven't done that, and they've done that twice all year. What do you got?
Tomorrow, give me a Jackson Merrill 6th inning home run.
That is oddly specific.
Yep.
Nostradamus Frank on Monday.
That's something.
For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. The Braden Surprenant Show. Gwynn and Chris coming up next. Enjoy your weekend. San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan.